Ladies and gentlemen, hey now, hey now. Let me crack open this cold one. Let me crack it open. Born to be red if you're out there. Cheers. Get a sip of this real quick. God damn, that's good. Guys, welcome to the show. God bless everybody here already. We got a great crowd tonight. I'm excited about this show. We've got a stellar guest. I love this human being. I can't look at this person without smiling. He just brings a smile, I think, to a lot of people's faces. But before we bring this person in, I want to say really quick, tomorrow, as in Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Time, Unity Candles is pulling out the stops. We have our Leprechauns line coming. 6 p.m. We've got Irish Spring, which needs no introduction. We've got Leps Gold, which smells fantastic. It looks like a gold bar. And certainly, last but not least, we've got the Rock and Roll Clover, if you smell what I'm cooking. And this is a really good one. So tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time, unitycandles.com. You should go there and favorite the page. And be sure to follow us on Instagram. We always let you guys know when stuff goes on. Anyway, I'm about to introduce our guest, the one, the only, Justin from Movie Watch Daily.
What's going on, man?
What's up, dude? Thank you for being here, number one. You look great.
Of course. Thank you, sir.
What kind of shirt are you wearing tonight?
So I'm rocking, this is Creeporama, one of their recent drops. I love their stuff, man. And for me, they're my favorite, like, t-shirt company. I know there's a billion of them, but Creeporama, man, they come with the sickest designs.
And is that Night of the Living Dead? Is that what that is?
Night of the Living Dead.
Dude, you look dynamite
the
tonight.
Original. Thanks, bro. You do too, man. This is fucking Ratterday Night Live over here on Planet CHH, man.
Yeah, and guys, I've brought Justin up to speed, guys. If the internet takes a dump for a second, Justin knows to read the chat.
Now, unfortunately, I don't have the chat in front of me, but I can entertain some folks. Maybe I'll do a little dance, or we'll pop a VHS on there. We'll figure it out.
All right, Justin, the reason I wanted to do this episode with you is because let me start the show out like this, because I know I told you to grab a bunch of cool stuff that you have.
Yeah.
But like let's say, for instance, let's take the Rad Pack, for instance. When I think of people, like I can think of people in my life. If Nick comes to mind, I think Halloween. If Mel comes to mind, I'm gonna say Lost Boys, and probably the same for Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
I can't pin you to anything. I mean, is that intentional on your part? Are you just a chameleon? How come I can't pin you? Like, I would say, if you look at me, you probably think Elm Street or Return of the Living Dead or something.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I pin you to anything?
That's a really good question, actually. I think what it is the way my brain works, my ADD brain, it's scattered in a million different directions. So, like, when I make videos, or I'm showcasing something on my Instagram, or talking about something on either of my channels, my brain's just always going in a different direction. So I always want to talk about, like, something different. So I never cover, like, a whole series of something, or just one subject matter, like, regularly. I always plan to do these series. All the time I plan, like, okay, I'm going to do my review series on this, or I'm going to really dig into this movie or this collection. And then I'll do, like, one video on it, and then something else will come up, and then I just keep it moving. But I also have, like, as we all do, I assume, I like so much, I'm not pinned, although my channel is generally horror for the most part. I like all kinds of shit. Right. So I guess that's probably why, man. I'm just all over the board. I really am.
But is there something movie-wise that is, like, your absolute ride or die, or is it? What is it? It's got to be something, right?
I don't know. I really like. I guess if I really had to think about it, I don't know. That's a really hard question, man. It really is. I'll tell you what. When I gravitate towards the movies I gravitate towards most are generally the B movies, like really bad movies. I love Trauma. Of course, I love all the 80s classics and stuff. I love So Bad They're Good movies. Like one of the movies that I've seen probably more than any other movie on the planet is The Room, which I just got Mel from the Rad Pack a copy of that. I hope she's watched it. But I don't know, man. That's a really good question. And I don't know if I have a solid answer. I think it's my ADD brain is just all over the place. I love so much. I just love so much. Every day when I'm on shopping or on Instagram or looking around, I can find, as probably most of us can, 50 things I want. And it may be something from a comedy, it may be something from an action movie, or it may
Right.
be a t-shirt, it may be a VHS, it may be a record. I just want it all. I just want it all.
Yeah, it's something I was thinking about that this morning when I was, getting ready for the show, just thinking about some of the things I wanted to bring up, and I was like, I was telling my wife about you, and I was like, "You know, the thing about Justin, I can't pin him to something." And it's
Mm-hmm.
not that you need to be, I think it's cool that you're not, but it's most people most people I think of, I can identify them with something that they can just verbalize, "Oh, this is it for me, boom, boom." And,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just interesting to me. When did you it's I'm trying to think of this too, dude. You just appeared one day to me. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? When did you start doing YouTube? When did you get into that whole thing?
It was
'Cause I
almost three. It's almost 3 years. 3 years ago, which is just absolutely insane. I made a post on Instagram where I took some old clips from my very first videos when I had like really short hair and was about 25 pounds lighter. And like right around the time of the pandemic is when I really started doing it. At the real like the beginning, I had wanted to do a channel forever because I've just been obsessed with movies and just media in general. As you'll see when we start digging into the stuff that I have, it's not just movies. I love old TV guides and fast food relics and things like that. I've always loved collecting, and myself, just like like most people who have channels and stuff. I got inspired by watching a bunch of other content creators. Pizow, uh, all the usual suspects, that movie, Cool Dude or Cinestalker, all those guys. And I was just like, I'm into this shit too. But I was just too much of a pussy to start my channel. And finally, one day, man, you know how I don't know if you were like this when you started. I've talked to a lot of content creators who start a channel and they're always waiting for that like perfect time. Oh, I need this camera. I need this mic. I need this background. I need this LED light. I need, something before I can jump into my channel. And I did that forever. I did that for years. And finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it, man. So I
Mhm.
just set my phone on a stand and I did a haul video, and it's horrible. I cringe every time I watch it. I go back and revisit it. But that was about 3 years ago, and I hit the ground running, man. And I just haven't stopped.
How'd you
Um,
meet Garrett and Mel?
I think this is something I've tried to pin down. I can't remember the exact same thing. I think Garrett found me first and commented on a video. There's a video where I'm unboxing the it was trick. I think it's the Trick or Treat Studios Flasher Gremlin, the big prop, not the NECA one. So I think it's the Trick or Treat Studios.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I I was unboxing it. And have you seen that video, that unboxing that I did?
I have. It might have been a
Uh,
while, but
yeah.
yes.
So I was trying to open the guy up, and I ended up
Mm.
cutting this piece. Like there's a part that you're not supposed to mess with. I didn't realize it. That actually holds the jacket onto the hand so he can spread the jacket out.
You cut it.
And I cut that and I separated the jacket from the hand, and I made a whole bit out of it in the video, and I did a funny little edit.
I remember
And
that.
that caught Garrett's eye, and I think he commented on it. And that's what sparked us. And then I nominated him for uh, horror YouTuber of the month. Um, and he won. He won that month. And we just started talking, and then I don't. I wish I could. Sorry, Mel. I don't remember the first time I saw. I saw one of Mel's really, really earliest videos. I don't really remember the origin of that. But just organically through videos, how we found each other.
And so then you guys started doing the Rad Pack, and how is it for you to do a show with Garrett and all them? Because Garrett strikes me as a little bit of a control freak. Is it everything nice working with him? Is it a nice partnership? How does the Rad
Here's the
Pack
time where
work?
we just start slamming Garrett. Let's just start slam. Let's just start slam. No, Garrett's the man. And you know what? When with somebody like me, Garrett does have like more of a like a type A personality, which I think is good in any kind of collective or group, whether it's a band or a podcast or something like that. It does help tremendously to have somebody who can kind of, you know, take the charge and organize everything, because Garrett really the Born to Be Rad is a brand that he sort of cultivated and created, as far as like the branding and just the idea of that Rad Pack, and he brought me and Mel in, which it just worked great.
So you and Mel are basically the Ace Frehley and Peter Criss. Y'all are the rockers, and he's the business. Yeah.
It kind of works out that way. He's just good at it. He does have a business mindset, working on the gimmicks and all kinds of interesting things that make that podcast fun, and I think unique, and it sort of stands out from a lot of podcasts and things like that out there.
Justin, I said before you came in here, like something about you. Whenever I'm talking to you or something, I laugh, and it's not I'm laughing at you. I'm just laughing because it's like good vibes, and I'm looking behind you, and it just looks like pure, like just insanity back there. So I've always wanted to dive into your collection, like just see what kind of stuff you've got, because I couldn't even begin to guess what kind of stuff you might own. If there's anywhere you kind of want to start, I want to know when you got it, how you got it, and then that can open up stories about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as we say. So can you just take us somewhere? Show me something that means a lot to you, whether it's old, new, physical media, book. Give me something. I know you don't you got boglins? And that's why I made the background boglins.
I have a ton of boglins. We can start with that. We can start out with that. Yeah, I have a ton. I don't even know where to begin. I'm looking at so much stuff. I want to pull up this one thing to troll Garrett, but I'll wait on that, because that's what that was my first instinct, is to pull up this one unique item. But we'll wait on that. We can start with boglins, because did you collect boglins when you were a kid? Did you have any of them?
No, I didn't start collecting boglins till I was an adult kid.
Okay, yeah, because I'm a little older than you too. So these were like in the 80s. Like, so I had one when I was very young, and they were really cool. Like back in the 90s, like late 80s, early 90s, everything was like how gross can we make this? How much do like, as the business people, the suits who create the toys were like, what kind of toys can we get to market to kids that will like gross out their parents? How repulsive can we be? What kind of toy can we make that has some sort of slime coming out of the eyeballs, or is bug related, or has creatures or pus coming out of it? And I just love that shit, because some reason, as all horror fans can probably relate to, that shit always I just found it to be so much fun.
Yeah.
Things like that just go hand in hand with like movies and toys, and the boglins are almost like a prop or like a practical effect that you can have. It was one of the first like consumer market like puppet that was ever made by a guy by Tim Clark, who did he worked with Jim Henson. He did work on
you gotta tell me who Jim Henson is.
Jim Henson did the Muppets, and he also did like Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal and like all that stuff. Like that's all his stuff. And Tim Clark was a sculptor and things like that. I also just remembered you mentioned those pumpkin things, and I'm gonna have to track that down. That just popped into my head too. I should have brought that. But all that to say, I'm a huge fan of boglins. I have like 20 of them. I have recently, they weren't around for a very long time. There goes Christian, but I'll just go ahead and show off the boglins.
No, I'm here. I'm soloing you.
Oh, gotcha. So Tim Clark, when he made the boglins, they were really, really popular in the 80s, and they may have crept into the 90s just a little bit, but sales slowly started stopping, and they discontinued the boglins, but they were big in the UK and stuff like that. They made mini boglins and giant boglins and all that stuff. And about, 4 or 5 years ago, Tim Clark came back with a crowdfunding thing, and I bought the first wave, and they're awesome. They're not the same. They're not quite the same as the old ones are. The tails are separated, and you have to put them together. It's called a clown boglin, but
the Spalding clown.
Yeah, it's like Spalding or like John Wayne Gacy. It's just so fucking creepy.
How are you moving his eyes?
So there's a little switch in here
I don't know if
They,
mine does that.
it does. It does. There's a little thing you put your finger in because that's like one of the trademarks of them. So you can crunch his face and you can make him talk and kind of move his eyes around. And that's really cool. But when I started after Tim Clark launched his website again, he was also doing these custom boglins. So this
Uh-huh.
is the first item I was going to show. So this is a hand molded custom boglin made
Oh my
in
god.
Tim Clark's home. So this isn't mass produced. This is actually made from a mold in his house, handmade by Tim Clark. So I forget what this guy is called. I'm missing the little horns. There's a couple little holes in there where they have these little 2 rubber pieces that are parasites that are supposed to be digging into his brain. I have them put away because I lose everything. But
Uh-huh.
so yeah, this one's really cool. This is not an original one. This isn't vintage, but it's just it's a kind of a dumb little collectible. But I just love this shit, man,
Looks
because
like a
it takes me
chocolate
back to
crumble.
it just takes me back to it takes me back to my childhood. I'll move this light here.
What's the
I
first boglin you got?
Back in the day.
Dude, is that the pumpkin boglin?
So that's the pumpkin boglin. These are called the Dark Lords.
That's the
So
one I want.
they're super cool, and actually they're I saw at GameStop a bunch of them are on clearance right now for like $30. So these are the Dark Lord boglins. The first wave was autographed. I don't have these autographed, but this one's really cool. So this is the Dark Lord pumpkin. We saw the John Wayne Gacy, and then which one do I have here? Oh, this is just the regular one.
Look
There's
at him
also
go.
yeah, I got it, dude. I have so many of these. I have so many. I don't even know if you can see that one.
That one's
Um,
taking a nap.
yeah, that one's because I've taken him out of the box, so he's like.
Look at that.
I should have brought all these out. Now I kind of regret not grabbing all of them because I have like 10 different ones. But yeah, they're really cool, man. And they
I
kind of
like
have
this
that
one.
throwback 80s style
Right.
kind of look to them, which is kind of cool. But I love that shit. It takes me
Do you,
right back to my childhood.
now, do you have your first boglin ever?
I don't. I don't have them. It was just I was really bad. I wasn't like a lot of people. Like when I was a kid, I didn't have any forethought about like saving things or keeping boxes or keeping them around. They eventually just got tore up, and I got rid of them, which is a major regret. But yeah, I had a couple of those back in the day.
You know what fascinates me about you? I remember a conversation. I say a conversation, it was probably just me talking at you like I usually do. But you made a comment of like we were talking about wrestling and you were lost. And you're like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, never
I'm
watched a
fa-
match in my life.
I'm fascinated by this. And I mean this half-hearted, but I'm also half serious. What were you doing in the late 90s? Like what was taking up your leisure
I
time?
was I did a lot of rollerblading. I was huge into rollerblading.
Yeah?
So I was a big rollerblader and I played guitar. So if I wasn't in my basement playing guitar and learning like how to play through the entire like Silverchair Frog Stomp album or Green Day Dookie or something,
Right?
I was out there rollerblading. And also I just didn't have any none of my friends watched it. So I didn't have like homies to to watch it. I just never it was just never in my wheelhouse.
Now, during that, were you a physical media guy back then? Were you getting the VHS tapes or were you renting like everybody else?
I was renting. Yeah, I was renting. I had a handful of like VHS tapes of my favorite ones, like the ones that I watched over and over again. Demolition Man, Speed, Terminator 2. Those were like the three like I can just remember just watching those over and over and
Right.
over and over again. But I didn't have like a physical media collection. That didn't come until a little bit later. And it started with like, DVDs, of course.
DVDs.
Yeah.
You know something? When I go to the Goodwills now, this may sound weird, but I like to try to find mixtape cassette tapes of like
Yeah.
handmade stuff. Were you making movie watch daily mixtapes back
Oh
then? Or
yeah, and actually this will be a sec. Actually, this will be a good segue. I'll try to like naturally work in as many of these items as I can.
I'm
So
so
this
good at
actually
this.
brings this up. I sent you a picture of this in the DMs here. So these right here. Now,
Uh,
kids, if for young kids watching, this is probably a bunch of older people.
Oh my god.
These were how you used to find out what you watched on TV back in the day. This is a TV guide from 1990 and 1997. So I guess just to showcase these, this is Barbara Crampton back when she was still on The Young and the Restless,
Oh my
just
god.
looking like a fucking smoke show. God damn, I'm so in love with Barbara Crampton. She still looks amazing.
Yeah.
And this, now that's something you don't see too often. Remember cigarette ads?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I
But
remember the Camel cigarette ads a
oh
lot.
yeah, Camel Joe. And then this one, actually, Mick Garris talked about this on Postmortem. He's like, oh,
97.
97. This was in the TV series. The miniseries came out and it made the cover, which is pretty cool.
Do me a favor.
For the week.
Open that up, just some random page, and tell me what was on.
Okay.
On a Monday night at 8 p.m. on like USA. Like I'm just curious.
Yeah. So this is exactly what I would do. This would come in. So the TV guide would come in the mail every single week because they didn't have like a channel guide. There wasn't a channel guide. There was no digital cable. In fact, when I was really young, I don't know if you remember this at all, but the remote control was a big box. It was about it was like 12 or 13 inches long. Mine had fucking wood grain on it. Okay. And there was a bunch of, I don't know if anybody remembers this, type in the chat, because this is really old school shit. It was a big brick. It was massive, and it had like 13 buttons, and you punched in each. That's how I changed the channel on the remote. Just like clink, these big heavy buttons. But anyway, I digress. I would get this in the mail, and then I would just study it like it was an encyclopedia.
Right.
And I would just like, okay. So Monday, we'll just start on a Monday. I love digging through these, man. Do you have any of these old TV guides?
I have, you know what? I have one in a box. It might have been from 89, and it had Freddy's Nightmares on the front. I got to put it on the Freddy shelf. I don't know why I don't have that out, but I've got to dig that up. Yeah, I think it's 89 TV guide.
So yeah, I would just dive in, and there wasn't as many channels, so you just had a few channels, and I would always go to HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, all those. I would look for the rating. It shows the rating in there, and if it was rated R, I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch that, because I was like a little fucking kid looking for horror. So like, let's say it's Monday, April 28th, 1997. Let's see what we're watching.
Okay.
MTV videos, just a video block for hours.
People are like, what do you mean videos on MTV?
Yeah. Let's try to find the cable channels. Oh shit. Okay, so Little Christian in 1997.
Monday
if you
Night
were watching on a Monday, 9:00 on Cinemax, Pinocchio's Revenge.
What?
Pinocchio's Revenge.
Yes. Fuck yeah.
Which is so dope.
Classic.
Oh yeah, dude. Let's see here. Let's try to find some good shit. Let's try to find some real good shit. Quantum Leap. Let's get into the late night shit. Aces, Iron Eagle 3. I'm trying to find some good shit. Nothing's really popping off that like kicks ass.
No, but the thing is, do they have little? If memory serves, they have
stockings.
They've got little, like for the movies, like they have little abbreviated plot synopsises for them, right? And sometimes they're probably funny.
Yeah, the China syndrome in here. Flesh Gordon on Cinemax. Flesh Gordon on Cinemax.
That's
at
awesome.
2:20 a.m.
Hell yeah, hilarious. Brother! Is that circled in your?
It's not circled. This isn't one of my originals. Oh shit! 3:10 a.m. on HBO. The Lost Boys only got 2 stars. What's up with that? But that's what I would do. I would dig through and I would set my VCR to record these things. So I would make those mixtapes because you could record 6 hours on a VHS tape. So you could program your VCR to record. So I would oftentimes record 3 movies in a night to make my mixtape. I'd be like, okay, so Flesh Gordon's playing on Cinemax at 2:20. I got to snag that. And then, at another time of the night, Hellraiser 3 might be playing. And then like Return of the Living Dead 3 might be playing on another channel, at different times. And it would just automatically, your VCR would turn on, record it for the time that you specified, and then automatically turn off. And then it would just chill. And then when your next program came on, it would record your next movie. So I would literally go to bed and then wake up with 3 new movies on tape, just fresh in the VCR. I'd just be so excited when I woke up in the morning,
Justin, this makes me want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Being born in the 90s, obviously I didn't really get to experience the 80s culture, which I've talked to Garrett about this, and you probably could testify the same thing. The early 90s, the culture was probably a lot of the same. The mullets didn't go away. The hair was still big. People like me that love 80s horror and that kind of culture and the music now, let me ask you this. Am I sensationalizing it and making it more than it was, or was it really
No, no,
just
no,
that
no.
good of a time of
No,
life?
we came up, and I, even though we're a little bit different in age, I think we got a little bit of an age difference. Um, we grew up in like the last gasp of what was like
The Wild West? Anything
kind
is
of,
possible?
yeah, like and because like with me, like I got to see a little bit of both. Like when I grew up, there was no, like when I was a little kid, there was no internet. It was all VHS. I didn't have a home computer. That wasn't like super popular. It was when I got like, 10, 11, 12 years old. So I got to see the transition from, like, come home when the street lights come on to my parents are calling me on my cell phone. I saw a little bit of both of that because I was born like right before it. And it was all in my youth too, which is kind of interesting. So but to get to your question, I don't think we sensationalized this era at all. This was an extremely unique time for entertainment, the world, media, because technology had just started to pop off, but we still had a connection. Um, everything was still tactile, like people weren't staring at their cell phones the whole time.
Mhm.
The movies were different. They were raw. Nobody was worried about offending anybody. Practical effects were still huge.
Right.
Big studios were spending 30, 40, 50, 60 million dollars on like a horror movie with practical effects and stuff like that. So that obviously doesn't happen anymore. And if it does, it's extremely rare. So when we look back on our movies and our culture and our media, it's all shit that doesn't exist. And people now just don't realize how cool it was, you
Yeah.
know? So it was just an amazing time when you could just go. You weren't just flipping through a billion thumbnails on Netflix. You gathered your fucking friends up. You hopped on your bikes and you rode to Blockbuster and looked at the shit on the shelves and found your
Yeah.
favorite movies. And those are the movies that shaped us that we still go back to. You know, like all those classic movies that are on our shelves now in 4K we first discovered when we were 12, 13 years old, and it was fucking magic, dude. It
Yeah.
was magic.
Let me
It
ask
really
you,
was.
before we look at some more of your stuff, you mentioned 4K. Another thing, this is another thing I can't pin with you.
Mm,
I love being able to see these movies in the highest video quality possible. But
mhm.
when I look at you, it may be just an assumption on my behalf. I see a guy that maybe prefers to watch movies the way you were brought up, even though it may not be the preferred quality or the best quality. Halloween 3 may hit different on VHS for you. Am I right, or do you like the best of both worlds?
That depends on the movie, honestly. There's some movies that need to be like in 4K or not need to be, but like look amazing. Like
Sure.
so there's just some movies that it all depends on the movie too, depending on like how like well the movie was shot, how good the lighting was. That all depends. But like, do I need to see like Poultrygeist in 4K? No, man. Give me that shit fucking raw as hell on my fucking 720p 3-disc exclusive edition, and I'm fine. But seeing these restorations now, it's great. I
Mhm.
love it. I'm not stuck in that way. There's something nostalgic about like I got Beetlejuice playing on the TV back there, but would I prefer to watch it on that TV? Maybe at certain times. I was talking to my buddy about this. Something that's cool about VHS. VHS is kind of cool. Like if you have a VHS player in your bedroom and you just want something kind of lo-fi to put
Mm.
on before you go to bed, hit a little nostalgia nerve, get something kind of lo-fi. I'll do that. But if I like really want to watch Beetlejuice, I'm gonna grab my 4K and pop it in the player.
I totally agree. We have probably the exact type of TV. We got a little 13-inch with a VCR built in. Sydney
Mm-hmm.
put it in our kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
and I came home a few days ago from work, and she had Big Trouble in Little China on VHS while she was cooking.
Oh, dude,
And it
that's so
was
cool.
and it was a cool thing because if you go into our house from the garage, which I do, I've never used my front door. I've been in my house for 5 years, but you go in through our garage, that's the first thing I see is the kitchen. So I walked into seeing that big boulder monster, whatever thing that is, in Big Trouble while she's
Mm-hmm.
cooking, and it was like this is my life. But yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I still love getting VHS tapes and things like that. But anyway, let me move on. So let me ask you this question, and then maybe you can follow it up with a piece of your collection.
Hmm.
Your collecting style. Let me ask you it this way. Are you collecting things, and it's not really a yes or a no, you can kind of just give me your answer respectively to this. Are you collecting a lot of stuff that you had from your childhood that you may have lost back in the day? Are you collecting things that you wanted as a kid back in the day? Or what's the scope of what it takes for you to say, "Oh, I need that," or "I need that"?
You know what's interesting about that is sometimes I like to grab things that I did have, like there's something like things that I've forgotten. This will actually bring up something, and you actually have this same piece. I like things that either are nostalgic, like a one sheet movie poster of a movie that I love. Like I didn't have that when I was growing up, but I
Uh-huh.
love having something, a piece of history of a movie from the era. So I'll love, like, I have like a Pet Cemetery 2 one sheet. I didn't have that when I was growing up, but I love it now. I don't collect a lot of stuff that I had back in the day. There's so much cool shit coming out now. I get a lot of newer stuff, and I do buy some retro stuff. But I feel like if I started buying everything that I wanted back in the day, it would just open up a rabbit hole that would just be so deep that I wouldn't be able to capture everything. So if I see something from back in the day in my childhood, I'll grab it. But a lot of times it's just so fucking expensive. Like talking about boglins, if you go and try to buy an original boglin in the box, it's going to be like $500. So I just
Mm.
can't drop that kind of cash. A can of Crystal Pepsi is going to be $100. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, yeah.
So it's just tough. So, but I do buy little trinkets of the past. And you have this. We kind of bonded over this. This is something from my childhood that I didn't have a chance to grab. This is
Yeah.
just a little small item, but this is the Burger King Last Action Hero tie-in cup. So
Mm.
it has the little movie thing where it moves, doesn't really do shit. It's supposed to make it look like a movie. So I love fast food stuff. Fast food toys and fast food items I find are really cool because if you do see movie tie-ins, it's always Disney or Pixar or something like that. Back in the
Mhm.
day, it was Batman Returns. You seeing, the penguin's disgusting mouth on a fucking Happy Meal. You don't get tie-ins. Like you would never get a tie-in with like Last Action Hero. And I also have the original like figures that came out. They're all tore up, but
Oh my god.
yeah, I have the Last Action Hero. Now, what's interesting about these? I don't know how interesting this is really, but um,
I love this movie. Please.
have you seen these figures?
Not with a box like that.
Yeah, I bought them on. I saw a video of the kid from the movie. I can't remember his name. The little blonde kid in
Dan
the movie. That little fucking kid.
Danny whatever.
Yeah, they did a reunion thing, and he unboxed them like they had one of these, and I was like, holy shit, they had toys for that. So I bought them, and they're so shitty, dude. It's hilarious. You could tell they're like repainted figures from something else. So there's the Ripper.
The
Like,
Ripper.
why the fuck is the Ripper wearing like medieval armor? It's like, what is going on? Like, he kind of looks like him in the face. So they just repainted some old. Uh, they just did a repaint on some other stock that they had. So it's just ridiculous. And the Arnie that they have in here it's cool, but it's like the
To
one from
be or
the
not to be.
yeah, not to be. So that's our Arnie. It's not the signature like red t-shirt Arnie that we know from Last Action Hero. It's this stupid bullshit. And there's a cape for some reason. Like there's not a cape that exists in the movie Last Action Hero, but for some reason there's a cape for Arnold to fucking wear. It's so dumb.
I love it.
And then
Love
I lost Danny. Where'd Danny go?
Oh shit.
Where'd Danny go? He fell
Uh-oh.
into the movie.
Let me read this
Anyway,
super
I
chat while
lost
you
it.
do that. Thank you so much, Creasefold. He sent me a $5 super chat. He says, Movie Watch Daily, 1998, I was 12. On my birthday, I got a pair of rollerblades and spiral fractured my right leg. I spent June to September in a cast. It was the best summer ever.
Oh, dude, those things.
Thank you.
They can tear your ankle up. If you fall wrong on a pair of rollerblades, you tear your ankle up. Man, that's sorry to hear about that, but I know it was a good time. It was worth it. There's Danny.
See, Danny looks like the best one out of the three.
Yeah, there's little Danny. So
He looks like a greaser though from the outside.
yeah, he's not. Again, like the clothes aren't right. It's like they didn't watch the movie or something. But yeah, I love weird shit. And what's cool nowadays is because like collecting has become such a thing. I'll grab another thing here that we can kind of run through.
Sure.
Because collecting is so huge, everybody's cashing in on the nostalgia and creating new items. I think you'll appreciate this. This is a music item. So when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Nirvana to like almost an unhealthy level. Like right when the internet came out and we had a printer, I would just print out every picture I could of like Kurt Cobain like, in concert, every picture of like, Courtney Love, the band, anything I could find. And they were horrible resolution. And I made a little scrapbook of just like everything Nirvana, all the lyric, everything. And a few years ago, this isn't horror related or movie related, but it's an incredible piece of like memorabilia. This is called Treasures of Nirvana. Have you seen this?
No.
So this is a box set that has kind of recreated items from the earliest days of Nirvana. So they have reprints of handwritten lyrics. They have the hand-drawn flyers that Kurt Cobain made for the band when they were still like Pen Cap Chew and their old band names and stuff. So and every time it comes with a big poster, and every page you open up, as you start to open it up, there's little items in the pocket. So this is in the In Utero era. So there's recreated ticket stubs and lost items from Nirvana. All these recreated things that I just find so nostalgic. So even though it's not original, collecting things like this, like it just takes me back to that time when I was discovering everything that kind of made me who I am.
Yeah, it gives people a chance to experience it that can't probably afford to try to get originals of. I mean, who can afford to try to get an original of Kurt Cobain's hand drawn?
Right.
So
exactly.
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's killer.
It's a cool little piece. I like that a lot.
So is that your favorite band?
It was growing up. Yes, Nirvana and Silverchair were probably my big bands. Nirvana, Silverchair, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains.
So before that, were you like the rest of the world? Were you into the I don't know, the Dangers and Slaughters and things like that?
I wasn't into. I was never into all the hair metal stuff. My first favorite band was Aerosmith.
So you strike me as a guy that would really like The Cure. Am I wrong?
Okay, I've only heard a couple songs by them.
You look like a Cure guy to me.
Oh, really? I don't dislike them, but I'm not well versed in them. When I was growing up, it was like, so I was born in '82. So like when I was old enough to like find my own music and stuff, it was like 1990. That's when all the grunge stuff, like every day there was a show called Rude Awakening. Other old fucks in the audience will know there's a show called Rude Awakening that I used to watch before school. And because I'd walk to school in elementary school, it was just like down the street, and they played music videos that were all like popular alternative, and that was like Smashing Pumpkins and Pearl Jam, Jeremy, then when all those were new and stuff. So that's what I gravitated to.
Right.
So when I saw that, I think if I had maybe been a couple years older or watched heard that music, maybe it would have. Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's what got me into music. So I didn't really do the whole like hair metal thing.
Right.
I was like, why are these guys wearing makeup, dude? Like Kurt Cobain's wearing a fucking tore up jeans and a baggy shirt. That's what I was into.
Let me ask you this. I want to look at, because I gotta pick your brain about this kind of stuff.
Please.
Right? Because I was a puppy during this time, so
I want to learn about myself through this conversation too. So let's get deep, man. We can get into the marrow here.
Just you don't have to spend too much time on this, but during that era, when I listened to 90s music, as a humble musician, or as just a humble musician, my opinion is when I listen to those bands, there's one band that's clearly the best at what they did. Personally, to me, that was Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
I think that that band was insane. But
Hmm.
during that time, I feel like the level of musicianship really wasn't as important because
Hmm.
Nirvana was so simple, yet they
Hmm.
captivated people. Is that just was that during that era? Was Nirvana just above everybody else in your life and in your circles? Was it, oh, this is cool, but Nirvana is like touching people's souls? Was it like that? Like, take me back to that time.
I think what the deal with the Nirvana was is there was something about that first single, like "Smells Like Teen Spirit," that made like Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains, all those guys in Seattle, they were doing their thing already. They are already like successful, but for whatever reason, Nirvana had that single that popped. So it was like, okay, it's okay, guys. We can bring all these other guys in, and that's when the Alice in Chains and Pearl Jams and all those just popped off. Like it was safe to
Right.
have rock radio, like grunge style. And Alice in Chains was amazing. The musicianship in that band is incredible. I don't know what it was about the trajectory of the musicians not being like as like virtuoso or um, like um, like highly technical. If you go like the guitar solos and the guitar work in like 80s metal, the solos are absolutely insane. Like I couldn't play half those solos that are in those
Yeah,
songs.
Yngwie Malmsteen probably did
Oh,
more in
dude.
10 seconds of a song anything that Kurt Cobain did.
Oh,
And I say
100%.
that respectfully, but
No, it's the
it's
truth.
it's like music just reared its head, and it's wild looking at it. You know, it's
Hmm.
like everything went opposite. The vocals went lower, the songs got simpler, there was no
Uh-huh.
guitar solos. It's just interesting. I really wish I could have lived from 80. I want to experience like 88 to about 94, and I just want to see the change.
Hmm.
But as a kid, were you even inept to what was going on with that, or like was music something you just really didn't get sucked into
I
by
heard everything on the
until
radio and I listened to a lot of pop, but everything was just kind of like passing.
right?
You listen to a song, you sing along to it, whatever. But it wasn't until I could actually like get a hold of CD, and I didn't just listen to that. I had like we talked about this on the last Rad Pack stream, where once you could get physical media through like mail order, like Columbia House and BMG, it was on. So that was the way I discovered a lot of. Yeah, Stone Temple Pilots. Fuck
Yeah.
yes, they were huge too. I don't know how I forgot about those guys. Absolutely, but all those albums, you go to Columbia House or BMG, you'd fill out a little card, and they'd send you a box with 10 CDs in it as long as you committed to buying more. There was a mail order thing.
Ah.
So that was a huge thing. In every magazine, there was a card you'd pull out, and literally anybody could do it. So me as a kid, they'll say you get 10 CDs for a penny, but you have to buy 6 CDs at full price within a year or whatever. So like I'd get my, Matchbox 20, Counting Crows, Alice in Chains, all that shit in a big box, and then I just never buy the committed stuff. But that's when I was able to kind of dig in and discover other music, and then I started getting into other stuff, Metallica, Testament, cool shit like that, White Zombie.
Very nice. All right, Justin, take me back into your collection. Show me something old, new that maybe you haven't shown me before that I can try to understand. Let's
Okay.
let's get a new
I have
layer
a
of
I have a
Justin.
big I have a big stack here. So I know you're a Freddy guy. Um, so I have a lot of stuff buried. So I'm just gonna start pulling things from the top, and
Let
we
her
have a
rip, man.
so this is something cool that I've never seen anybody else have. If you have seen it, maybe I don't know.
Oh, the car.
Yeah, the Freddy Cadillac. Have you seen this piece?
I have. I don't own it, but it's a beautiful piece of
It's
memorabilia.
it's really really cool. I love this thing. I thought I had to bring my. I don't have much Freddy stuff, but this one's really cool. I didn't take this one out of the box. I love the glove right there.
Look
It
at
just
that.
looks cool. And then you got little Fred just chilling. And then they also did a one for Christine. So you have the car from the Fury from
Hmm.
Christine, which is so dope, and I thought was kind of unique.
I love
Pretty
it.
pretty cool little piece. And man, I got so much in front of me that I can that I can go through. So you just let me know where you want to go.
Just go somewhere. Just grab something because I'll be able to ask questions off of
Okay.
something. Um,
Okay.
I
Let
have
me.
no
Oh,
idea.
one thing that I guess one thing that you mentioned that I know you're pretty excited about. Let me dig it out here. So I got so much stupid shit I pulled out, bro.
I'm just laughing at the shining cardigan on Reagan back
Dude, and I moved her. You can see her arm fell off. Her arm's dangling. It's out of the socket right now. That whole thing fell over. That was a debacle.
there.
So this is one of the most coveted items in my collection.
I know. I hate you.
So
Now hold on, Justin.
and then I have a couple other full moon things we can bang through too. So
Now
this one's really cool.
now let me ask you this about this Empire box set.
Mm-hmm.
You, I'm assuming, grew up with a lot of those movies, and
I
you'd
did.
seen Ghost Town or Ghoulies and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Now, when in terms of because that box set came out in like 2015 or 16, if memory serves.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You at that point, obviously, you don't just get something like that out of the blue. You probably were deep into physical media by this point in
Yeah.
your
This is
life.
when I was actually when I there's actually a couple movies in this set that I have not seen. I'm just gonna keep it real. But there's enough in here that I did want that I had to get it. And also I just saw how limited it was, and I was like, if I'm gonna get this, I gotta get it now. But I didn't get it during its initial release. I actually got it off eBay, and I don't even remember how much I paid for it. I think it was fairly cheap, dude. I think I got it. Somebody must have been hard up or something because I got it for like $100.
That's
Yeah.
like $500 now if you try
Holy
to get it.
shit! Is it real? Really?
Dude, I mean, because you got to the stars align. Charlie managed to get licenses from Scream
For the Scream
Factory to say,
Factory
"Hey,
stuff.
you know what? I want to do this thing. Let
Yeah.
me." And they owed it to him. I mean, that's half of his movies he made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really really cool. And I got
Can you show people, if you don't mind, just really
yeah.
quick? Can you show people the artwork on that
Oh
box?
yeah,
Because
absolutely. It's
it's beautiful.
incredible. I don't know who you know who did the artwork on it.
I don't. But
Maybe I can.
Full Moon did a video themselves unboxing it when it came out, and my
Oh,
jaw.
okay.
I don't know what happened. I either thought it was coming out on Amazon, or I was just ignorant to it. But it's look at that. Look at the Cellar
There we got the
Dweller,
Ghoulies. We got Cellar Dweller.
Catacombs,
Yeah, you got Catacombs in there, and then on this one, you have From Beyond. They start to get
Dungeon
very
Master.
close. Yeah, Dungeon
Have you seen
Master.
Dungeon
Cool.
Master?
I have not seen Dungeon Master.
You'd love it. I don't know if you're a Wasp fan, but Wasp is in Dungeon Master, and it's awesome.
Are they? They're in it.
Yeah. Blackley Lawless as Prison.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's just a beautiful set. There's a
Dolls,
Robot
Ghost
Jocks.
Town, Robot Jocks. Yeah.
That's
This set is
TerraVision too.
absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful set. I love that. And then not everything in here is like super 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 cool and or super limited, but it's just stuff that I think is cool. So retro I collect a lot of the modern VHS stuff. And this one came from Full Mood and Retro Release Video, and this is the big box edition of Castle Freak.
Oh my
which
god.
I love Castle Freak so much. It's one of my favorite like Barbara Crampton, Jeffrey Combs movies. I just love this movie. And
is it a VHS tape in there?
Yeah, so it's a VHS.
What?
Yeah, so this is just the big box. Now it's not like, I know a lot of the old VHS, they used to have like kind of a piece of cardboard in the middle that would actually like hold the tape in place. It's not quite the same as those old big boxes. So when it slides out, it's just loose in there, and then you get the VHS of Castle Freak, which is really cool.
Now, Justin, hold on a second. Was that the art? Because look, I don't remember.
This is commissioned artwork. This is like newer artwork.
Okay, because I was gonna say, did you obviously during the 90s probably saw Castle Freak on VHS back in the day? Do you remember? Was the artwork an image of the actual character of the Castle Freak, and like it's a side shot where you can see that like cut open mouth thing or whatever?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the original artwork right now. Didn't you just see like an eye or something? Like it was just an eye creeping out or something like that?
It's a yeah, it's either that or a faint shot of the Castle Freak themselves.
That's what I remember.
I'm so glad that you love that movie. I
love it. I didn't mind the remake either. I didn't think it was horrible.
It wasn't that bad. But Justin, I try to push That's beautiful. I try to push these full moon movies on people. I think the problem is they look at what they do now and they
Mhm.
say, I'm not interested. But I gotta explain. They were making real movies,
Yeah.
and
When he was in
it's
like the Romania era.
a subspecies. He filmed
Hmm.
it in Romania right after a revolution.
Yeah. He bought that castle, and that was when they were actually having like a lot of money to really make some cool like productions and stuff.
That's cool
Um,
that you're a big fan of Castle Freak. It's just one of my favorites, and it's a great Barbara Crampton, Jeffrey Combs film, and
it's fantastic. Should I keep?
yeah.
I can keep going with some. I can bang out some VHS while we're at it. If you're
Everything, because
okay.
I'm learning about you.
So this is another cool. I love like just
What
quirky
in the
additions.
hell
I
is
love
this?
if I see something quirky and new and fresh and weird, I'm gonna buy it.
Is that mac
Um,
and cheese? What the hell is
so
it?
that's mac and cheese. So first of all, so I actually have the mac and cheese, cheddar goblin,
That's
mac
real
and
mac and
cheese,
cheese?
cheddar goblin. I have
Did
I
you
have a
eat those as a
I have a
kid?
no. This is from Mandy.
Man, oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's the cheddar goblin from Mandy. And they made these limited. I have a bunch of these. I can send you one if you want. But so yeah, you got the cheddar goblin in the back.
That's a prop?
It's actual mac and cheese. Like you could make this if you wanted. I'm not going to. Nothing's better
Who's getting the license
than
to make
cheddar.
this?
So this is coming from Legion. Legion is producing their own merch, kind of like what A24 is doing. So I have a clamshell of Mandy too, but this one is really cool. So this takes the cheddar goblin macaroni and cheese like design of the deal, but then check this out, bro. You open it up and it's a yellow VHS.
You're kidding me.
So it's Mandy on yellow VHS tape inside a mac and cheese. So stupid.
Now, do you try out these VHS tapes, or are you really just? I mean,
I play them. I don't watch them. They're mainly to
you
be
don't want to
honest.
damage them. You don't want to mess them up and
No,
ruin.
and the thing is, like, I don't have the most reliable VHS player, so I put like some older ones that, like I know I'm not too worried about, like, because I've got tape stuck in my VCR, and I don't want to put like some $40 collectible VHS tape in, in there.
Yeah.
And this is the one this was coming up. Have you ever seen the Neon Demon?
Yes. Let me see
So
this. Oh my
I
god.
love so Garrett, Born to Be Rad, actually had Katie Video, the creator of Katie Video and all these VHS tapes on his show a few
I
days ago.
saw that.
It's a
Yeah.
great interview. Check it out. But she mentioned me in that video and said that I didn't even know how rare this was. There was, I think, under 30 copies made of this. This was when she very first started. This was one of the very first couple releases that she ever did. So the video's been kind of blowing up. These earlier ones are super hard to get out, but I don't want to pull it out. I'm gonna fuck it up. But it's a purple VHS tape, so only like 30 of these exist, and this is really, really, really early Katie Video. Like this is just some early shit. And you might appreciate this. Sorry if I start going on a roll, dude. Just tell me to chill.
The chat, we have 103 people and staying steady, man. The people love it. Keep showing us what you got. Drop a like for us if you don't mind, people.
So I'm going to go through some really cool VHS. Now, this is one that I discovered that I forgot I had. Okay, I'm just going to try to burn through these so I don't burn a bunch of time. So this is a copy of Caligula, right? So Malcolm McDowell, Helen Mirren. But back in the day, I don't know to people who have seen this movie, it's a pretty gnarly. It's not like a full-on porno, but it's like there's a lot of orgies and weird shit in this movie. It's like all the old like Roman shit. This is from Penthouse Video.
Penthouse Video.
Penthouse Video had a record company. They had a VHS media company.
Yeah.
So not only did they put out like pornos and like TNA with like 80s chicks with their fake tits being like sprayed with water hoses, they also released Caligula on
You're kidding me.
on VHS, and there you can see the label Penthouse Video. So they licensed what was a legitimate like movie and put it out, and I thought it was really, really cool. I got that for $1 at Half Price Books.
Son of a bitch.
And then going back a little bit further, I know you like the older kind of dead format stuff, and a lot of people do. Right. I have a couple beta tapes that are really, really dope. I've actually never seen a beta play, but
Clockwork Orange. Sword and the Sorcerer.
Sword and the Sorcerer.
Wow.
and the original Alien on
Th-
Beta.
That's yeah, now, Justin. I'm not a technician, but from what I understand, I think Beta has more tape head readers on it.
Mm,
So I would, from what I've studied, Beta did have a better picture. I don't
that's what
know
I
how
heard.
noticeable it'll be, but yeah, but
It
I
was more
think the
expensive, I think. So it just that it got priced out. VHS was just cheaper
yeah,
for the
and I don't.
consumers.
And Sony didn't license out Beta to JVC or Pioneer, so nobody else
Yeah.
could put out Beta tapes, but nobody else could make a player but
Hmm.
Sony. Now let's see that again. That's Critters. Now, does it
That's
have a top and bottom flap? Because
yeah. They're kind of hard to get out. They're the ones that have like a full on like they're enclosed all over on all sides. So you got to like pull the
now,
tab
now
out to get it.
let me ask you something, Justin. Were a lot of VHS tapes like that, or
Not a
no?
lot. Not a lot were rare.
Just the
It
MCA's, or because my
it,
VHS Critters release is the same way. It
so
has
is
the
is
top
is
and bottom.
RCA? So it must have been the
RCA,
RCA's
excuse
because I
me.
have I have this one too, and this one actually I have a couple random movies just that I brought up just because a couple movies that nobody ever mentions ever. And I thought this was a cool VHS find. It has the side loading thing. Have you ever seen My Demon Lover?
That is the best movie that has that song. Let go. Da, 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 da.
Dude.
Yes, I love that movie, and nobody. I have it on Laserdisc,
Oh, do
and
you? That's fucking awesome. The practical effects in this movie,
are way
this
better.
should be a classic.
The reason I saw and own that movie is because I absolutely adore Family Ties,
Yeah.
and I hated Nick when he came on the show. Not Lost River Drive, and Nick, the boyfriend
Hmm.
to um, Mallory on Family Ties, and then I loved him by the end of the show. And so when I learned, very long story short, when Family Ties ended, they tried to do a spin-off called The Art of Being Nick.
Oh shit, I never knew that.
It was a pilot episode. It aired on TV. The ratings did this 15 minutes into the show,
They were like, "Fuck this, we ain't
and
into
they
this."
abandoned it. But they did a movie with him called My Demon Lover. And I
Hmm.
always tell people, watch Night of the Creeps, then watch My Demon Lover. That song, Let Go, that you hear in the beginning of Night of the Creeps, they used it in My Demon Lover, and I think it works better in My Demon Lover. It's a really
Hmm.
fun PG kid kind of horror film, but
But
the
it's not. It's
practical effects.
gnarly. Like he comes. He I can't. He's like a demon, really, who has to like contain his demon form. But when he gets horny,
It's a romance. Yeah, it's a.
that's when he starts turning into a demon, and they have all these wacky special effects.
Oh, we've got some
Um,
people that have seen it in here. Garrett's seen it.
oh, that's
Matt has
cool.
seen it.
That's awesome. We should do
It's
a
a.
Rad Pack
It's
episode on that.
Yeah, that'll be like 7 viewers because no one's seen it though.
I
Like
know,
this,
I
you
know.
know.
Nobody knows about it, and I'm not sure why
Well,
it didn't
it's
poke
lost in
through.
limbo. It's like I think Laserdisc and Beta and VHS. I don't know if there was ever a DVD, and I don't know that there would be an audience for it now. To be honest with you, Justin. I
Yeah,
mean, honestly, it's
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 a
not.
weird one.
It's yeah. There's no boobs. There's no gore, but the practical effects are great. But I don't know if
Mhm.
that's good enough for people nowadays. You know what I mean?
I don't know why. I don't know why I brought this out, but I just brought this because I love this movie, and I don't know if
Now,
you
do
can
you
see
love it?
this.
Now, listen, hold on. Do you
Autographed
love
by
it?
Ronald McDonald. I'll
Do you
tell the
love
story.
it unironically, or do you love how bad it is?
Oh, I love how bad it is. It's perfectly bad. It's perfectly bad. It's so bizarre. It is so fucking bizarre. The things are so grotesque and ugly. The aliens, they're just so gross and weird. The wheelchairs, the scene that Paul Rudd always shows every time he's on the talk show about
On
the
Conan O'Brien, yeah.
kid, yeah, flying down the hill. I just love it.
Oh man.
But I'll skip the story on that because it's embarrassing. I'll tell you on another time. And just to wrap up, actually, I just don't want to bore anybody with staying on one thing for too long.
No, I love it. Let it rip. This is your episode. I want to see your
well,
stuff.
you're a kind man. So, very few movies do I own like multiple copies of. I don't do that too often unless something that I really, really love. Like I got a bunch of copies of Terrifier 2. I have a couple of other. I have a couple copies of True Romance.
You say it correctly. True Romance.
True Romance. Yeah, we had a debate on what syllable do you stress? How do I say it? Romance.
You were on the show when we did a physical media episode, and you was like, "Now, guys, I don't know if this came out this year or last year, but True Romance. Great movie.
That was fucking funny. But I have a bunch of different copies of Midsummer. Okay, so this is from a place called a
Holy
dude called
shit.
yeah. This is from VCR World. Now I don't know if he himself designed this artwork,
That's
but it
gorgeous.
is absolutely beautiful.
See, that's 60s Hammer.
Yeah, it does. It does have that vibe, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then you look on the back, you see how it's got the weathered, like cubed images and stuff. I just love this edition. And then Katie Video also did an edition for Midsummer, which I love.
So you is there something, let me ask you this. Is there something um is there a nostalgic kick you get out of being able to own these movies you love on VHS? Does it strike a nerve with you? Because if you're not gonna, I'm not asking this in a way that like, why are you buying this? But if you're not, if you know you're not gonna watch them too much, because number one, you said you don't have a reliable VHS player. There's got to be some kind of feeling. You got to feel some type of way.
I think I can't pinpoint exactly specifically what it is, but I think there is a major connection to the way I used to consume physical media and modern movies. So like a movie that I love, I can have a piece like this and it's like, oh my God, this is just like, what I had when I was growing up, and maybe there is a little bit of nostalgia factor. Like not only is it a cool collector's piece, the artwork is another huge aspect of it. The artwork on these is just amazing. I don't know what it is. I honestly don't know why I'm so obsessed with these VHS tapes, but I just am. I have
break this down. Break this down for me real quick, Justin. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's slow down for a second. Take me through the difference, and I'm serious because I gotta. Let me set you up. I loved collecting Laserdisc when I got into it about 12 or 13 years ago. Oh shit!
Damn it, Pete.
Oh my God. We took a nosedive. Let me read this super chat while you set back up. Dude who loves movies, thank you. $5 super chat. We got two of America's Most Wanted in the same place.
My dog just knocked my stand over.
Dude, that was the longest fall too. We got two of America's Most Wanted in the same place at the same time. Don't forget to roundhouse kick that like button for my dudes. Hashtag thank Rad Pack. Thank you so much, Cody. Love you. That's so sweet of you, man. Thank you very much.
What's up, Cody?
Now, before I ask you this question, I want to give you, like, when I got into laser, there was a moment when I was a kid and I was at my buddy Randy's house and we were watching Beavis and Butthead Do America or something, whatever came out in the late 90s. I forgot what that movie was called. You probably know what I'm talking about. I think it's Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Do America, the movie, yeah.
And I'm sitting on the side of the couch because it was a bunch of us for a sleepover, and I didn't get to the couch quick enough. So I'm sitting on the side of the couch, and there was a night table with the telephone and a lamp, and there was a milk crate under the nightstand, the side table. And I look at the milk crate thing, and I'm flipping through it. And I thought it was records for a second, but they look like movies. And I grabbed one of them, and it was Predator. And Randy's mom looked at me and she goes, "Oh, those are our laser discs." I said, what is that?" I go, "They're movies. They're really big discs, and they look a lot better than VHS tapes." That stuck with me. That was 1998, 99. And then years and years later, yeah, True Romance. Years and years later, I thought about that, and I started collecting Laserdisc, and it made me. It was letting me relive a part of my childhood that I didn't experience, but I could have, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So there was there was this mental thing that made me feel like I could relive my childhood in this weird way. And I think that's subconscious because I knew deep down, despite 90s the laser discs look great. They came in widescreen. If 9 out of 10 times, the way the director shot it, he made sure that's the way the laser disc looked. Which is something we've kind of lost nowadays. A lot of times we get different frames for movies and stuff, but I convinced myself, oh, these look great and stuff, but I love the feeling it gave me. Take me through the difference when you get that Midsummer VHS tape as opposed to getting that yellow 4K.
Yeah.
There's a difference. You feel different when you get those.
Maybe just almost like a shocking novelty of like, how is this movie on this format? It like shouldn't be. You know what I mean? It's like almost something that just shouldn't be. Like it's some kind of crazy um a anomaly or something. I don't know. It's so fucking strange that it's like a trend now. I think it came when people started recollecting like VHS and started selling the used ones, like getting them graded and all that shit. And then now there's like this big boom of putting modern movies on it. Like it's a format that it shouldn't be on. I think a lot of it is like some of it may just be like a cash grab kind of thing for suckers like me. But I think a lot of it is that nostalgia and the fact that you can have a show, a Netflix show like Midnight Mass on a handmade, in a handmade
Good
wooden
God.
box set. Something like this is just it's special. It also shows, like, I think
Let me
you have to
somewhere.
really love something to buy it on a format like this because you're not going to always bust it out and watch it. You're just going to, you know,
But
most
it's
likely, stick it on the shelf and and have it. But the art is amazing. I don't know. I think it is the nostalgia. Like, what if, this came out in the
it's
80s? Like, how cool would that be?
yeah, it's kind of is it kind of like bands today, even though it's somewhat of a different situation because they do
With
this.
vinyl.
Yeah, it's like I love the band Ghost now. I think they're just a phenomenal rock and roll band with
Yeah,
a
they're
great
awesome.
show, and I'm thinking to myself, their music is so anthemic. It needs to be on
Mhm.
vinyl. This isn't crap that's processed like you get today, where it's like a guy pressing a keyboard and making a beat, and then somebody just
Well,
talking
vinyl
over it.
actually is like it's like it's since it's not streaming, it's not losing bit rate and like quality through streaming. It's not on a cassette tape, which deteriorates over time. It's not on like a CD is a fantastic quality, but sometimes depending on who
You
produced it and
scratch it, or
yeah, you can scratch it, or also it's just compressed. A lot of music will be a little compressed depending on when the CD was made. Albums and music on records
no
is like
compression,
it's just high
analog. Yeah.
quality analog, which actually it justifies being on vinyl, which is cool. But like something shot on 8 millimeter black and white reversal, like the movie Colvin from American Movie, signed by Mark Borchardt himself. Please, people, I need people to sound off in the chat and give me some love for American Movie. This shouts out to you, Garrett, from Born to Be Rad. For
He ain't gonna watch it.
I'm just gonna bring this little paper here every time just to terrorize Garrett.
Yeah, hey,
Um,
when he comes to visit you, the first thing he does, you got to make him sit down on the couch, and he can't do anything. He can't take a piss. He can't get nothing to eat. He's got to watch American Movie.
have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't seen it either.
Oh my God, Christian, dude,
I have
you
an
gotta
excuse.
see it.
I have an excuse. I completely forgot. So you started giving him shit. So
Mhm.
that's my excuse. He doesn't have an excuse. I have an excuse.
Like the novelty of this is like about as inside as you can get. American Movie is a documentary about these two guys in the mid 1990s, Mark Borchardt and all of his drunk, goofy friends in Milwaukee shooting a movie. The documentarian was shooting another documentary about something else, and he just happened to stumble upon this quirky guy named Mark Borchardt who was shooting this film called Coven, and he finally finished it. And I got a copy of it. Um, I don't know. VHS is just pure nostalgia. Now, if you want to go a little deeper, I got some. We can just. I'll let you steer the ship here, but I got
take
a
just
lot more.
take me somewhere.
So,
You're
if we want to dive deep into the history, and I know you have a big love for vintage periodicals, magazines,
yes,
print things.
print.
So, you know, that is something that I forgot to mention when you ask about collecting things that you had back in the day. Fangoria magazines are something that I'm absolutely obsessed with. I'm obsessed with them. The lots are starting to get more and more expensive, which is unfortunate. But it also depends on the era in which you're buying, because Fangoria ran for about 30 years, give or take. So there's certain eras, especially towards the end of the magazine's run, that are the hardest to find, that were actually made the newest, because as print started slowly dying out, they printed less. So it's a lot harder to find those like 2000s era Fangorias as opposed to, let's say, Fangoria #1.
Wow.
So
Now, is that an
this
original? Or is that a reissue?
no, this is an original. This is I have two of them actually, but
Mm.
this is what year was this? I think it was
78?
I want to
70?
say 70. It was like 70 or 80 or 79. It was Starlog magazine, which was a sci-fi deal that talked about like Star Wars and Star Trek and all that shit. And they started to branch out. Now, when Fangoria first started, it wasn't just a horror magazine. It was a lot of horror, but they mixed in some other stuff. But it was branched off of Starlog, which talked about all kinds of nerdy stuff. So you have
Right.
Superman and Starlog in this. So the first issue, the very first cover was Godzilla. And then if you move along, these are bagged and boarded. I take good care of them. So there's Fangoria number, and these are all original.
The Prophecy.
So there's Fangoria issue number 2, and you can see after a while they took off the Starlog, and it just became Fangoria, and they changed the font a little bit, but it still always had the film strip with the clips on there. That's been a staple that I'm glad they've kept.
They've kept it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad they kept that.
Are you a subscriber to this day?
Oh yeah,
Me too.
Yeah, I got something else I'll show you here in a minute.
Cool.
There's Fangoria number 3.
Wow. Who now is Christopher Lee, Arabian Adventure.
Yeah. So you can still see it's not all horror. So there's Star Trek.
Yeah, a lot of sci-fi.
Star Trek. Yeah, there's a lot of sci-fi in these earlier ones. I have the first 10 issues, and then I start to get spotty
right
on the issues. But I have a couple hundred. See, there's Star Wars.
And look at the different. I like the different base colors on these.
Yeah, that is cool, isn't it? That orange really pops. That's number 6. And then there's The Shining, so 1980.
Wow. You know what's funny? That kind of looks like it's like from something that would have been from like the 2000s. I guess because of something about it. Yeah. Oh, you rat bastard! Look at that.
I actually have a couple of these too, because I bought so many lots. I have doubles on a lot of these. And surprisingly, these earlier, I think that's it of the old ones. Surprisingly, a lot of the super, super early ones are not as valuable as some of the other ones. Like this is the first issue, and I have, it's fun. I got a double subscription when they first came out. So for the first 2 years that Fangoria came out, I bought a copy for me to read, and then I still have the ones that I haven't even opened. And this one's going for big bucks online. So this was the first issue in volume 2, and it was when the Halloween came out.
Yeah.
So this one's really cool, and it's a really high quality. Well, you have some of these.
I do. They're very nice.
They're very cool, and I'll show you this really quickly because this is the only other magazine I have. Vintage Playboy about the
Coneheads
came out.
Yes.
Look
at Dan.
I mean, how 90s is that when you have the cover of Playboy with Pamela Anderson and fucking Dan Aykroyd as Beldar Conehead on the cover of Playboy magazine with an interview with Beldar?
Amazing.
I mean, I just love this shit. And when it comes to retro stuff, there is something incredibly, incredibly special about digging into those Fangoria magazines, because you look at the old ads, you look at the effects kits that you could buy, like Tom Savini trading cards. There's just so much to dig into when you start diving into those older vintage magazines, and I'm obsessed with it. I'm absolutely obsessed with those old Fangorias.
Now, off memory, do you happen to know what the artwork is for the last Fangoria? Do you know if it's John Carpenter?
Well, they do. Are you talking about for the original run or the new ones?
No, I'm talking like when they around 2013 when they just.
I don't remember the last one. I remember I remember one of the later ones. Like they made them all the way up until like I remember seeing Django Unchained. Oh shit! God damn it! The eye gouge thing was on the cover of a Fangoria. God damn it, Pete! Dude, it's such a clusterfuck in this room right now. They also had Jennifer's Body was on the cover of a Fangoria.
You know, I think I was getting Fangoria when I started getting into magazines around 2012. I was a monster. I went to Barnes and Nobles every month, and I think I've got what's probably the very last Fangoria, and I've got Wes Craven Fangorias. They did a Fangoria right after Wes Craven passed, and he's on the I've got all those.
That's cool, and I guarantee you those ones are going to be the hardest ones to find, because that like towards the end when they probably weren't selling very many copies, they were probably really, really limited runs. So if you have those, man, that is just fucking that is really, really cool.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that you've got. I'm glad it's nice to something about when I'm sitting down and I'm enjoying like when I wake up, I like to get a coffee. I like to sit there. I like to get up about 25, 30 minutes before Sydney does. I like that quiet time.
Hmm.
And I sit there and I get myself a coffee and I buy 3 or 4 magazines at a time. I'll get Darks, whatever,
Hmm.
Fangor. I'll make sure I'll go.
Dark
I
Side, Scream.
Dark Side, Scream if they have it, Horror Hound, knock on wood, I should be in another Horror Hound magazine showing off my movie room for the Phantasm Spotlight. So hopefully I'll be in the next one. If not, maybe the one
Oh,
after that.
that's
But
amazing, dude.
if
That's so
yeah,
cool, man.
I was in one in 2014, and I
No
have it.
shit.
And I love the artwork. The artwork for mine is Tim Curry from uh, Ro- Tim Curry, what's the drag queen movie he did in the 70s?
Rocky Horror.
Rocky Horror, and then the ghost face from Shriek, if you know what I did last summer, or Scary Movie, whatever
Hmm.
whatever one it was with the tongue, the what
Oh yeah.
he's on the cover. But I thought it's time for me to try to submit my room out. But anyway, I don't want to make this about me, but I like to buy 3 or 4 magazines at a time if I can. I wake up and I could sit there on my phone in the morning and relax and flip through stuff, but there's nothing like taking that
Hmm.
magazine and the
Hmm.
sun's creeping in the room and I'm just flipping, read like Scream magazine that just came out with that Return of the Living Dead spread on the new
Hmm.
4K. They have an interview, and God bless him, he's still with us. Johnny Russo, the writer of Night of the Living
Wow.
Dead, 80 something years young, still
Hmm.
alive, still kicking ass. There's a big interview with him
That's
that's not on the
incredible.
internet, and
I need to snag that.
I'm reading this lovely interview with John Russo, the writer of Night of the Living Frickin' Dead, in
Hmm.
this awesome magazine. I'm drinking my coffee. You can't get
And
that.
it's so cool when they have like before they were making like YouTube videos for this. The behind the scenes were in Fangoria.
They were in
So
Fangoria.
the writer will be like, so I arrived on set and Eddie Furlong was doing this with fucking the Trickster and like talking about the practical effects and brain scan or something,
Right.
or somebody on set with American Werewolf in London or something talking to Rick Baker or something like that. It's just there's something so nostalgic, and I love the ads in those too.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I don't want them to die, and I'm sure you're the same way, man. There's something about magazines.
Hmm.
They're articles in time, and it's like
Yeah.
a photograph, and that like you can read like
Oh
I
my
can go to
god.
one of those you can go to one of
So.
those magazines and I can read it and it's like those are moments in time where they're discussing something before this movie comes out. This is the last bit of speculation, or this is this or
Hmm.
this. And sometimes stuff is like I have a Fangoria talking about how bad Michael Keaton was going to be as Batman. And it was a
That didn't
Fangoria.
age well.
Yeah, but it was like a thing like there was this doubt. And nobody thought it was going to work, and
Hmm.
it's fascinating reading that Fangoria from '89.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
because it's
there's
also like it's a point in our culture. It's kind of like a hallmark of where our culture is. At that time when you read back in the vintage stuff, and it was just a whole different time, man. It was
yeah,
really really cool. I love the nostalgia of those old magazines, man. It's so cool.
yeah. Well, that's awesome. What else kind of stuff are you into? What else do you have?
We can. I got physical media. I got more collectible stuff. I got all kinds of stuff. It's whatever direction you want to go to.
It's up to
Um,
you, and I'll try not to interject too many stories. Sometimes it's hard not to because you're getting me to think about stuff. But
well,
show
just
me.
for the sake of clearing some shit out, I'll just show you some random shit that I got.
Okay, let's go.
So, this is fairly new, but we were talking about Terrifier.
You
We have
bastard! Those are cute.
we have the Terrifier Art Crispies art box, which is just filled with like a styrofoam thing. But since I grabbed this, I had to grab this since I had
Reptar? That is the same people that made it?
from Rugrats. No, this is from Rugrats. For Rugrats as a kid,
Yeah, yeah. But I didn't know if that
Reptar
was
was a
just.
little dinosaur. No, it's not the same thing. But I was like, I had this. I just figured I'd bring that, which is kind of cool. Christian, I have so much dumb shit that it's just like you asked me like, what kind of stuff do you collect? It's just like the dumbest shit that I can find
But
is what I
see,
collect.
I'm seeing somewhat of a pattern with you here.
Help me
When
figure. I need help. You could be my help me figure out what I'm doing. I need
I
help.
th- I think when you find something you're into, it's like it almost looks like you enjoy being part of the movement of something that the fans dig. So like with Midsummer, for instance, you obviously love this movie
I love that movie. Yeah.
and you want to be a part of it. You want it to be, you want to make it a part of your DNA. And I feel like
Yeah.
you were like that with Terrifier too. When that
Yeah.
when you came out of that theater, you were a changed man. My wife, we were driving home and we were listening to your voice notes laughing. And I was
We were
like,
sending voice notes like fucking crazy, dude. That
it
was fucking
was,
hilarious.
and you've
I was
taken
blown
to it
away.
and you're getting the crispies. You're part of this movie is a part. Now you can look at the stuff and you can say, I was there at that theater, that I was a part. I was a part of that movement. And it's like, now you've got all the physical media. So it's like when you like something, you go all in with
Yeah,
it.
100%.
And so you've got the imprint release or the whatever kind of releases for this movie. You've ordered multiple releases of Terrifier 2.
I conveniently have them all right here. So I have both of Katie Video's VHS tapes, which I love the art on these. So it's Terrifier 1 and 2, red, black cassettes. So fucking sick. And then I had to snag all of the editions. Steelbook, 4K, collector's edition. I do, but it's not every movie is like that. It's just very specific movies that really strike a chord with me and that actually put out a lot of stuff. And if I love what it is, I don't buy shit just to buy shit. I have to love it. I guess since we're on the thing, I have the most deluxe edition of any movie that I have in my whole collection is this insane edition of Inglorious Bastards.
Wow.
And this thing is look at Shoshana on the back.
Damn.
As it's burning. So then you open this up. Have you seen this release?
No, I've never even. I love the movie, but I've never seen this in my life.
This opens up, okay, and then this slides out. So you have. I'm going to be very careful before I don't drop my phone. I wish I knew who did this. It has some kind of Inglorious Bastards membership card. You get a poster. You get a cool like vinyl thing. But what else is cool about this is you also get. I'm going to knock everything over again. If I knock my shit over again, I apologize.
You're fine.
And I know this is kind of random, but we're just all over and we're just doing it.
Now, the audience has their seatbelt on, so if your camera falls, we're buckled up.
So this is such an excessive release, dude. So you get two full-on like Arrow Video collectors because they had two different steelbooks that you could buy. So this deluxe edition just comes with both. So you get two steelbooks and you basically get two collector's editions. So if I really like something, man, I do. I just go all in. And I have a major fear of missing out. And I also like just unique stuff. I have a lot of VHS. Like I have The Woman on VHS from Witter Entertainment.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I love it too. But then,
let me ask you a quick question. You said you have a fear of missing out. Now, is this something when you were a kid? I don't need to get too personal, but when you were a kid, did you grow up in not a poor family, but was it a humble upbringing where
I was pretty fortunate, man. I had a lot of stuff. Like I always had the Game Gear and Game Boy and Nintendo and all the cool shit. But I wasn't. But when I was super young, I wasn't able to watch rated R movies. Like I remember, I really wanted to buy. There was a couple movies I'd want to watch or buy, and I just couldn't. My parents wouldn't let me watch them. So I'm sure that has, something to do with it.
And do you think oh shit, I almost knocked my shit over. Do you think marketing today is such that everything is supposed to feel like we're trying, like, oh, this is it, you better get this now? Do you think that's
well, there's always a second chance. You could always go to eBay for it, but it's like if something seems expensive at $50, it's going to seem way more expensive at $400.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just like you kind of just got to go for it. Like I have this thing. I'm just going to show this. This is ridiculous. Are you a Seinfeld fan?
I watch the show, but I'm a casual.
Okay, so this is I'm bouncing all over, but this is one of the this edition right here. It's not even an edition. A lot of the big items that I have like this will be something like from my childhood that's nostalgic that I'll dive into.
Right.
I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get out. This is probably the coolest piece of my entire collection. Now,
There's
other
so
than my
many.
Evil Dead Ash Williams from Sideshow, that's pretty amazing, but I couldn't bring it out. I'm
Okay.
going to be very careful with this.
Okay.
I'm going to be very careful when I bring this out because this is handmade, hand painted. This is probably the most intricate. I'm being very careful as I bring it out here.
What the hell is that? The set?
This is a replica, an insanely detailed, full, even with the backstage stuff, of the Seinfeld apartment.
Does it have the Child's Play VHS on the shelf?
Let me see what it has. It does have some VHS on the shelf. It has the VHS, but they're not labeled. So, I mean, look at that, dude. It's all hand painted. It's just absolutely insane.
Look at that.
And it was limited to like, I don't know, a certain amount. And I just had to have it. So that's the thing. If I see something in the moment,
Beautiful.
I just have to have it, man. I just have to have it.
Now, I should have. I guess I would have taken you as a Seinfeld kind of guy, but I mean, was that your show? Were you also?
I love Seinfeld. Seinfeld was something that I used to watch with my family, and my dad would record every episode on TV. He would record it, and we both in retrospect don't like kind of bummed this out now is that he edited out all the commercials. So he would record it, and then when the commercials came on, he would pause it.
Yeah.
And then when the show came back on, because nobody wanted to watch commercials back in the day, but now looking back,
it's nostalgic.
It would have been amazing to have all of those things. While we're talking about amazing collector's editions, I know you're a big Twin Peaks fan, and I'm going to seem like a big fucking poser here because I bought this because I wanted the best edition to watch the show for the first time. This is one of my coolest collector's edition, and this is the entire Twin Peaks saga. It has Firewalk with Me. It has the whole.
Oh my god, that's
beautiful. It has the movies, the show. It has the new show that came out on Showtime.
That's my favorite season, by the way, is season 3.
Oh, is it really?
Oh man, I was in love with it.
My wife
is the big Twin Peaks fanatic. I watched the show with her, and
it's got all the shit in there.
You would love. Does it come with the Does it come with the Angelo Badalamenti like CD soundtrack or something like that too? Or
that I'm not sure of.
Man, me and Sydney have tracked down every version of the soundtrack on vinyl we could get. You would absolutely fall in love with the Angelo music.
Super weird, isn't it? I was trying to find the card that shows what's in it. It might have I wonder if it does have the soundtrack. That'd be dope. I need to listen to it. But yeah, that's a really cool addition.
You see, really quick, let me ask you about when I look at you and I say, what sitcoms does Justin like?
Not a lot.
Obviously, now we know you're a Seinfeld guy. My gut instinct would tell me you're a Married with Children guy.
You know, Married with Children is a show that I really, really appreciate now. But at the time it was on, I didn't watch it because it was like old people.
It was old people.
I don't know why, but when I see a clip of like Al Bundy going off on some hog at a shoe store, like in the scene, it's amazing. It's amazing, man.
Whenever there's a character that I think every guy has a tad bit of Al Bundy in him. You know what I mean?
He's all of us, man. He is, man. I love that show now, but I didn't watch it when I was younger.
No, I think there's probably a show you're not a fan of at all I'd like to bring up. Big Bang Theory. Something tells me you find it since nerds aren't like that.
That show is just the writing, the sitcom format with unfunny jokes. I have a specific hatred for that show. Like
I don't know why I knew that, but something made me feel you felt that.
Oh, that's hilarious, dude. That show is like the bane of my existence. If I could wipe anything off the earth, it would be the Big Bang Theory. In a Big Bang.
All right, Justin.
This is my shit.
My so-called life
growing out.
Yeah.
This was one of my favorite shows growing up. This is actually a really early Shout Factory release when they were still doing all the TV shows.
TV show. I've got Spin City from them.
Yeah. So there's, Jordan Catalano. This was a show that spoke to me back in the day. Did you ever watch this show?
No, I just a little bit on YouTube when I was just I've seen
dude.
I went through a
It's so
phase where I
good.
was just trying to find vintage shows, and like there's a time where YouTube would have a bunch of episodes. Last show I want to ask you about, then I want to get to the rest of your collection. I don't want to go too far over 2 hours. I don't want to wear you or the audience out, but there's a show I want to know if you're a fan of, because I'm about to dive into it, and my gut says you're a fan.
Let's see.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I love the movie. I've never seen the show because to
Really?
me, when that show came out, I was such a
you moved on.
No, it wasn't even that. I was just such a massive fan of the movie that when the show came out, I was like, that's not Christy Swanson. This isn't Donald Sutherland. This isn't Buffy the Vampire Slayer. What the hell is this? But I probably, if I went back and watched it now, I would probably really, really enjoy it. Like, I love Charmed. I love Charmed. Charmed is fucking awesome.
Charmed is great. I don't know. Something tells me I haven't even seen the show, but you look like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan.
I probably would like it. Maybe I need to check it out.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go.
The cheesy special effects. If you want to keep the special editions going, this was one of the bigger hits that I had on the last Rad Pack episodes. Now, this is an extremely rare. They only made 666 copies of this, and this is a German NSM Records Ginger Snaps trilogy. So this comes in this like leather-bound book. This is one of my favorite pieces. It really is. I love this. Not only is the outside of the box super cool with this like embossed,
wolf,
you see the wolf on there, and then you can see it's in German there. That's embossed. And they slide out. The inside is like a wood that has these little separators. It's like a really hefty box. And they're media books.
Look at that.
So how cool is that artwork, man?
That's a 10 out of 10 on the front.
Ginger. Yeah, there's 3. I love 3.
Why are they out of order, Justin?
Because I dropped them on the floor a few minutes ago. And there's Ginger Snaps 2. Ginger Snaps 2 is a lot of fun too, man.
I've seen all 3 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great, man.
I have Scream Factory for Ginger Snaps.
Those got to be approaching a 4K soon. They have to be.
Yeah, I mean we could go all day on what the hell Scream Factory's plan is with these. I have Slumber Party Massacre on 4K, but I don't have Psycho 2 on 4K. Like where's there's a pecking order.
I don't know where their priorities lie.
I'm the jackass that bought it though, so.
Did you pick this up?
No, I didn't. I couldn't decide, and then I just never got any. But you've got Subspecies Lunchbox. It doesn't come with a thermos, though, does it?
No, it should.
Wouldn't that have been something?
Yeah, that would have been dope. This is a recent pickup. It's not super rare or anything, but
I'm such a fan of that movie, Subspecies.
Yeah, I just watched your 90s best of the 90s episode, and you gave them a pretty good feature. There's some great picks in there. Subspecies is kind of like an underappreciated vampire movie for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned. It's a great movie, man. It really is.
I'm hoping I can get the younger audience to check these movies out.
At least like some of the older ones. You know what I mean?
You've got to. I tell people, it's the last time I'm going to say it, you've got to go back. I mean, Justin, take me there. Take me back to the video store in 1993. You're a young kid, but you're old enough. You've got your wits. You're a man of culture at this point. Nirvana. I
remember the first horror cover that I ever saw. At least in my brain. Maybe it wasn't, but at least the first one I remember.
Puppet Master.
It wasn't Puppet Master. It was Dead Alive.
Dead Alive.
The mouth, the fingers pulling the mouth open. We had a place called Cotton Video. It was a big pink sign.
Was that the grocery store? Or?
No, it was a standalone thing. It was a standalone thing. They had a back room and everything. And I remember wandering in that, and finding Dead Alive, which I just thought was so cool. That's the first VHS I remember.
And you love that movie, Peter Jackson.
Oh, I fucking beyond love that movie, dude. That's the goriest horror film ever made.
See, I feel like you understand the art of the horror comedy. It's a hard blend to get, but when it's done right, it's about as good as the genre can produce. When you look at Return of the Living Dead, movies like that, Dead Alive. I mean,
it's because they're not making like let's tell a bunch of jokes. They're being silly, But when it needs to get real, shit gets real.
Shit.
Like Dead Alive doesn't really have jokes. It's just campy.
It's
You know what I
campy.
mean? You're not meant to like take it, deadly serious.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I 1000%.
that's what I think the difference is with that. I think do I have any more?
But really quick before you show me more,
Oh
like
yeah.
take
Yeah.
me back at the video store. Like for the younger viewers,
Yeah.
how that when they tell me, "Oh, I haven't checked out Full Moon. I don't think I'd be a fan," because they see whatever they see
Like
on
if you
YouTube
saw
now.
modern full moon, if we're talking about full moon specifically, if you
It'd
see
turn you
modern full
off.
moon, it would turn you off.
But tell people when you went to the video store in 1993, how important was that label on the
Full
shelf?
moon for the video store era
Is
was
everything.
huge, bro, because a lot of those staples that sat right alongside Night of the Demons and Sleepaway Camp was Castle Freak and Puppet Master and all those movies. So and all those other ones we mentioned came from different studios and stuff. Charles Band was like, nah, man, we're gonna flood these stores with our shit. We're gonna make them fast, loose, cheap, bloody, and they were great.
But as a kid, you probably said to yourself, "Oh, I wish I would have saw this in the theater. I never saw Puppet Master in the theater." But you probably didn't know. No, this wasn't. You know.
Did any of those go to the theater? Were they all direct to video?
Full Moon started in '89 with Puppet Master, and Paramount made a deal with Charlie and said, "Hey, this home video thing is massive. We'll partner up with you. Let's start it." And they started with Puppet Master, and that went to the video stores and was so successful. I think it's to this day the most successful straight to video franchise in existence. Puppet Master.
Amazing.
Millions of VHS tapes sold, millions. So
that was a whole thing. Dude.
I love hearing people talk about that because I experienced a fraction of it because when I got into Full Moon, it was post the Paramount days in '95. But for people to tell me how important,
well, even if they didn't see like Full Moon stuff, you got to remember they had was it Moonbeam too?
Moonbeam Entertainment.
Yeah, the pet store one. They had
Prehysteria.
They had all those. So he was
Danny
smart,
Madigan.
Man. he was fucking smart, man. He knew how to market shit. So not only did you find Full Moon stuff in the horror section, you go to the kids section, and find Prehysteria, and Moonbeam stuff, which was just amazing.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So tell me what else you got, man. I want to get behind the mind of Justin a little bit more tonight.
Well, one of the coolest and I guess one of the more rare pieces that I have in here, because I haven't shown anything that's incredibly, incredibly rare. Some stuff is, but one of my favorite pieces that I just can't believe I was able to snag is this guy right here.
Is that a T2 arm?
So that's an endo arm from the T800.
It's 800.
And in the bottom of this, you can see right here, the movie's actually in here, which is stupid, but this was
there's a disc under that.
Yeah, it's like a 4K. It's a 4K movie. It's the limited edition movie that comes with this arm, which is just so dope, man. And this one was really rare. It sold really, really quickly. And I don't know if you can see. Can you see that?
Let me make you big. Hold on.
That T2 head back there. You can kind of see his eye gleaming.
Yes, I see it. The right eye is blinking.
Yeah, that's another amazing piece. If I go back and try to get it, I'll probably knock shit over. I meant to pull that. I meant to pull that on the table here, but Terminator 2 obsessed, and this is one of my favorite pieces, man. This arm is just so cool, and that it's not Sideshow, it's Studio Arts made that head, which is really cool. I guess I can grab it. I mean, we're on a show to show shit.
Go grab it. Go grab it, guys. If you haven't dropped a like on the show, please do. Justin's going out of his way to pull out a lot of this awesome stuff for us to look at. I'd appreciate it. Wow, look at this.
All right, let me get my headphones on here.
Justin, while you're getting this thing set up, let me ask you something. So you're more of a T2 guy than a T1 guy.
I love the first Terminator. I love it. And 3 is not bad. It's the last like watchable one. I don't love 3. But T2 is where it's at for me. John Connor. I mean, that was just right at the perfect time. I'm like the same age as Edward
Same age.
Furlong. Yeah, he's riding the dirt bikes and fucking easy money and shit. I love it.
But Justin, let me you see when people hear us talk tonight and they see you're a big fan of movies like Dead Alive, and we know you're a fan of the shot on video stuff. I know video violence is a classic for you. You're also a guy that can appreciate the emotional journey, right?
Of
Is
course.
that what takes T2 over the top for you? Because the ending, you probably
Dude,
love the end.
if you don't shed a tear
You know what
when
I mean?
fucking I order you not to go, I order you not to go, and see like the thumbs up going and the thing. If you don't shed a tear at the end of Terminator 2, you don't have a fucking soul, man.
Right.
Like that shit hits you so hard, like in the emotional feels. Because John Connor's journey without a dad, you have like a machine like actually learning how humans feel and how humans are supposed to interact together, and just like this weird bond that they have, it's just there's something really relatable to that. And if you're watching that as a kid, you're like, man, I wish I had a big like, you know,
You see,
cool robot to hang out
yeah,
with.
but see, it may be a weird thing for me to bring up, but when you look at guys like you or me, where we like to wear bright clothes, we got the beanies on and stuff, and we just like blood and guts. But the truth is, sometimes we like to take those emotional journeys. I know you were so excited for
Oh
The
yeah.
Whale, which we can't talk about that because I know a lot of people haven't seen it. I saw The Whale, and it touched me in a lot of ways because I think there's something in that movie for somebody to relate to.
Yeah.
That they can take that journey with, and that's the beauty of cinema. Is that what drives you with movies? Is
There's something in every movie that taps into to me emotionally.
right,
Everything from a movie like, even a movie like Return of the Living Dead 2 or Return of the Living Dead 3, all the way to something like Terminator 2. Like even if you go to like a silly horror movie like Return of the Living Dead 2, there's something, and it goes with a lot of zombie movies, but if you're talking about an emotional thing, you can, even if something has a lot of gore and a lot of silly shit, you're still watching characters who like see their best friend like, die,
right,
or they get attacked by a zombie. They're now a zombie. You will never know your friend, girlfriend, mom, dad. You will never see them as they were, as you knew them your whole life again. They are now this other thing, and now you have to fucking kill them. It's sad, dude. Especially Return to Living 3, which is my favorite in the series. Like, oh, that whole journey, man, with that. So, and then in Terminator 2, man, like I said, you have, a lost kid who doesn't have any structure in his life and finally finds something steady, or like a strong like male figure in his life. Every movie has something you can pull from. The Whale, if you don't, have issues with your dad, or Brendan Fraser stuff, he was an addict essentially. It's a movie about addiction. He's
right.
addicted to food. He has a food addiction. So every movie taps into something, no matter what it is. So sometimes it is just blood and guts. I can't say I watch like, video violence or Poltergeist, or, you know, a shot on video Vinegar Syndrome release from
I just think,
Saturn's 4 or something.
I think it's important to talk about that, because I think sometimes people from the outside, if they look at us, they think we're not necessarily one trick ponies, but we're not Terminators ourselves. You know what I mean?
Well, the most successful horror movies usually have a little bit of that mainstream appeal, and the mainstream appeal is usually like
The
an
emotion.
emotional center,
Right.
or a strong character, whether it's male, female, kid. Just look at The Black Phone. That's a perfect example of some really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Every movie has something.
Yeah.
Including this guy right here.
Look at that thing.
Can you see the lights? Can you see his eyes light up?
Oh, let me make you solo.
Look at those eyes.
That's awesome.
Let's see if I can make it.
I don't remember the Terminator having teeth.
Well, yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger has teeth. You can't really see it, but this whole bottom is under. You can't see it. There's a glow.
There's a glow under there.
The whole thing glows.
Hold on, is it making sound?
Yeah, it's like static. Like there's all these wires coming, so it's like the sound of like wires tripping out and shit. You
That's
can turn
awesome.
that off though. Yeah, it's fucking cool, man.
That
I
is
love
killer.
this piece. I got T1000 coming, hopefully a little later this month. It's a bust of that. So
I'll be damned.
So, man, I can't believe we got through most of this. We got through most of this stack, dude. Only have a couple things left.
Well, if you're good, we've got the time. If you've got the time, we can
I
take a
actually
look at
had
them.
something here that I can open on camera that I've had for years that I haven't opened.
If you want to.
So I'm going to open this up. So this was a promotional item that came. I'm sure you heard of the popular Netflix television show Stranger Things.
What do you have there?
So this was
Coke
when
Stranger Things?
so when this came out, when the first, I think it was the first season, 29. I'm not sure what season this was actually. Maybe it was season 2. They did a tie-in with Coca-Cola when everybody was talking about the new Coke.
New Coke.
So
Which
they
I heard
actually
tastes like crap.
they reissued. Where is it? New Coke.
You have New Coke?
So new Coke is in here.
Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it, and I'm sure it tastes like shit because it's expired from 3 years ago. Should I open it?
I look, man. If that's up to you, I don't want to. I hear it tearing.
Well, I have 2 of them. I bought 2 just to be safe. Let's see what a new Coke looks like.
Oh my god.
We'll do a little live unboxing of new Coke.
I've been doing this thing where all these limited Halloween drinks and stuff, limited stuff. Me and City have been collecting them, and we've got a Peeps Pepsi can.
I haven't got to try that yet, man. I want to try that so bad.
We got an Ecto Cooler.
Oh, dude, I'm so glad I opened this. These are cool as shit.
Dude, let's see it.
Oh,
is that new Coke?
That's so cool, dude.
You're kidding me.
How cool is that?
That's wicked.
That's like the old can. That's really cool, man.
Now, I asked my dad about this one time, and he said, son, new Coke tasted like trash. Nobody liked it.
I wonder what the deal was with that.
That's beautiful. Now, Justin, cool. I think me and you talked about this. I go out of my way to the 78 gas station at the other end of town to get glass bottles. They taste better.
Yeah, I love the glass bottles. And I'm such a sucker for all those like limited edition drinks, like when they come out with the new Mountain Dew. I'm such a sucker for that. Isn't that kind of funny? I think a lot of the like horror creators are into the gimmicky drinks and snacks, I noticed.
Well,
like
yeah.
Sucker, Pizzal, you guys, Garrett, we're all into the weird food shit. I wonder what that is.
It's something about, I don't know, man.
It has to be nostalgia. It has to be.
It's that. And I was telling you guys this. I've kept a bottle of Starry because pretty soon they're going to change the artwork and we'll move on in time. Keep one. Get one. If you don't have the Starry that you haven't opened, get one and just keep it. I told Garrett, put that on your shelf because they're going to change the art or it's going to go away. I like it, but if it doesn't watch, dude, just hold on to some Starry. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I got pallets of it at work. The artwork is odd. I thought the name of the beverage is weird. It doesn't roll off the tongue, and the design I thought was a little strange too.
It's simple. They should have had a mascot. Starry. It sounds like a character.
Yeah,
they need a mascot,
like a throwback mascot, like back in the day, like Chester Cheetah or something like that.
You ever play that game Rise Star for Sega Genesis? Do you remember Rise Star? It's a star with a face and hands and gloves. They should rip that off and call him Starry. It's a better name.
7-Up had Cool Spot.
I've got a Cool Spot telephone. I love it. It's a big,
The Sega game was cool. It didn't make it looked good. It was kind of shit to play, but
yeah.
Dude, I think we pretty much knocked out. I have a couple random things. I feel like we're so close to mentioning everything that I pulled, so it's like I might as well just do a little marathon and just show. Oh, dude, I know something pretty funny here. Now that we're in the tail end of the show, so this is for the real ones, dude. If you're still watching at this point, you're a fucking real one.
They're here.
Look at this.
Pee-wee?
Look, this is a VHS box set, dude.
Why does it look in pristine condition? Is that you just kept it in good shape, or?
I just kept it in good shape. I found it at a thrift store or something.
You're kidding me.
But isn't that cool?
Oh my god.
It's like it's kind of like the Freddy set, how it kind of makes the image and on the back. So I love Pee-wee, man. I was a huge Pee-wee fan. What else do I got here? We're just gonna throw random shit in. So this right here, this is a really cool piece. So this is a severed arm or a severed hand. Can you read that? Can you see whose name that is?
Ch-
That's Chuck Palahniuk. That's the writer of Fight Club.
you kidding?
And he did a bunch of other amazing books, but most people know him from Fight Club or
Yeah.
Choke or Visible Monster. So I saw him at a live. He came out with a book, and this guy. So Chuck Palahniuk toured for his books, and he toured. Man, you would be interested in this, man. He does a cool thing. That dude tours like a rock star. We have a massive venue here called Uptown Theater. He packed a theater, and it was like a rock show, dude. Came out playing this crazy music, and at the end of the show, after he read passages from his book, there's a short story called Guts that he always reads that's just absolutely disgusting about the person who gets their guts sucked through a drain in a hot tub. But at the end of the show, he brought out these 2 giant bags of like limbs, fake limbs, and they were all signed. Legs, arms, ears, heads, all this random shit. There's music blasting. There's confetti falling from the ceiling and shit. It was like a rock show, and he's just throwing severed limbs at the audience. And me and my sister we each caught one, dude. So this is a special memory that I always have, and I just thought it's cool. It's been in the background a lot of my videos, but that's really cool. And then the last shit that I have, man, is just some random albums that I thought were kind of cool.
Hold on, let me solo you for this.
Oh, so these are just a couple choice selections from my vinyl collection of movies that I really love. This is kind of rare. I never thought that I would find the Pet Sematary 2 soundtrack on vinyl, but this came. I think it's from. Let me just make sure I'm saying it right. I think it's TerraVision Records. This actually has a lot of tunes.
Poison Heart's on there? Or?
It has. Let's see if Poison Heart's on there.
Is it the music? Is it the music from, or is it the original soundtrack?
No, because there is some. No, this is just the score. This is just the score stuff. So it's not all the.
Okay.
All the extra stuff, but it's really cool. But my favorite soundtrack of all time, and I think a lot of people will agree with this. Now I'm talking about for songs, not just score. Right here.
Devil's Reject. Yeah, the Waxwork. That's a great release.
Oh, dude. And this soundtrack, man, this is where I discovered Terry Reid, and he's now one of my favorite musicians of all time.
Yeah.
Now, one of my favorite scores of all time, you'll appreciate this by what's Charles Band's brother's name?
Oh, Richard.
Yeah.
Richard Band. Yeah, I've got that one too, man. That's probably a sought after release. That one's been up for a number of years now, like 2015, 14.
He basically just ripped off Psycho. And just like changed a couple notes. This is a pretty rare one.
Don't Tell Mom?
This is Don't Tell Mom, The Babysitter's Dead. Now, this is the actual songs from the album.
That's
but
beautiful.
What this is cool about this is, look at this. Clown Dog.
Oh my God.
It's like the Clown Dog rapper. And then the record is, oh shit.
Is it Yellow? Oh my God.
But check this out. Mama Celeste Face Up.
You got to be kidding me. Who put this out?
Mama Celeste Face Down. Isn't that hilarious? Who did this? It was a company that I had actually never heard of, but they do some cool shit. War God Records.
I never heard of that. Now let me ask you this, Justin.
That's the last thing I have. I have the Coven soundtrack. Watch American Movie.
I have to now. Let me ask you this: How do you listen to your records? Do you have is there a regimen? I mean, you don't just say, "Okay, I'm going to listen to records."
So
you do something when you watch records.
Well, I had a really, really cheap, like a shit Crosley record player a really long time ago. And then that I really didn't use a whole lot. I maybe used it once or twice, and it was a piece of shit. And I actually felt like it was kind of damaging my records.
I was gonna say, did your friends give you shit for like, hey man, don't be playing your records on that piece of shit?
So honestly, it's been years since I've listened to my records, but I still have them. And I'm looking at some like really nice Audio Technica because I don't have a proper vinyl set right now, which makes me look like a poser. But I have them. What the fuck? I'm gonna listen to them. So. when I don't have a proper setup right now, but I still collect them. You know, because they're art pieces. I can always go back to them. So
Yeah. Oh, I love records, man. If there's a band I love, I get everything I can. Like I got I went there's this place in about an hour from where I live. And this guy, I don't know how he has it, but if you name it, he's got it. I spent like $350. I love Blue Oyster Cult. It's one of my favorite
mm,
bands on the planet. I went in there and said, I want everything you got Blue Oyster Cult besides this because I've already got it. He had everything. I love the 12-inch singles. You know,
mm.
you can get your 7 inches, but he had a 12-inch single for Don't Fear. I got that along with Agents of Fortune, the record that it's on. And then he had Imaginos, which if anybody listening is a Blue Oyster Cult fan, that was the last record that they put out on Columbia. And it's kind of hard to find.
Did you
And
get original pressings or were they new pressings or what?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not trying to sound like a snob. It's not a thing. I don't like these 180 grams. I don't like them.
Mm.
I prefer original style pressings of anything. If there's a record I want, much prefer to get it the original way, that more
What was the
flimsy,
original? Oh, it was just thinner.
just that, that thinner vinyl. I don't like
Mm.
that 180 gram stuff. I'm not into it. I prefer black vinyl. I like color
Mm.
sometimes. Like I'll get the waxwork stuff. I have the Devil's Rejects in the House of 1,000 soundtrack. I love it, but I just love that thin black vinyl with old school Columbia, RCA, Epic Records labels. I love that. I like keeping it old school. Same way with my cassettes. I don't even know if they make because I'm sure there's companies that put cassettes out now.
Oh yeah, I have a few cassette soundtracks like Troll and
Y-
Street Trash and shit
Don't
like
you have
that.
Troll 2?
I have Troll, yeah, Troll 2, Street Trash. I have Brain Damage. I have a few. Do you notice when you play your records, is there a difference in sound that you notice from the colored vinyl to the black vinyl? Does it change affects the sound at all?
I swear to God, I think there is. I think it affects the sound. I think it affects the vinyl itself with that
Mm,
colors and stuff. But here's the thing. Most people are listening to these on Crosley, so they don't give a rat's ass.
right.
And I mean, I have a pretty good turntable. It's an Audio Technica. I don't remember the model, but get yourself a full platter. Don't get that half platter where they spin and they're wobbly like that.
Yeah.
Get you a full platter. Avoid listening to them through Bluetooth if you can, because all that's going to do is compress your
Yeah,
audio.
I want wired speakers. The one I have in my Amazon cart is a really nice Audio Technica with the what are the Edifier or whatever speakers. They're wired speakers.
Yeah.
All that
I
stuff.
think Wes from Dead Pit, I think he has, if you ever have any questions, he'd be the guy to ask, but I think he's pretty hard into like listening to it the right way.
Mm.
But I just love it, man. I love listening. My favorite, I don't know if you know who Julian Cope is. He had a song on Return to Living Dead 2, Space Hopper. And when the truck drivers smoking the pot driving,
They
that
changed that song in a couple of the releases, didn't they? Or no?
no, the original music is different. All the songs, the bands,
Oh,
they're in different spots in the movie. But I
gotcha.
found Julian Cope from Return to Living Dead 2. I've told the story a bajillion times, but
Hmm.
I've fallen in love with Julian Cope. I love his music, and he's one of my top 5 artists in the world now. And he has a record called Saint Julian. I listen to it on vinyl once a week when I'm cleaning the house or doing the dishes, and I crank that shit. I
Hell
crank
yeah.
it. That's how I listen to my records. When I'm cleaning. I put my records on and I crank it. Or
It's interesting.
cassettes. I love
Do
my
you have like
cassettes.
big tower, like old school, like tower speakers and shit like that? Like,
I've not they're not big enough to have to set on the floor, but I've got some pretty big speakers that are the red and black wires that you got to crimp and pop
right.
them in old
I
school.
I love that. That's the only way to
That's
do
what you
it.
want to do. That's
I
what you
remember
want to
my
do.
dad had his vinyl player, and there was these big like wood grain speakers, that had the wood shit on the sides that were
Th-
so dope.
this is what you need. Go to Goodwills or flea markets and try to
Get a
find
receiver.
those. No, not even that. Try to find those old school record cabinet stash with the glass door, and you
Hmm.
set the player on top, and it's got the glass door, and you've got maybe a row below it with like a preamp if you're hardcore, you want that, or the cassette deck
Right.
under there, and then at the bottom was where you could store the records. That's what you need. Because you need it old school.
I saw like you probably follow one of those like it's like 80s basement or vintage 80s basement or something. He was showing off his setup and he was like, I
It's
finally got
amazing.
my retro setup where he has that whole stack, dude. Like one
Yes.
of those cabinets, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It has the
Yes.
receiver, the record player, and it's like straight out of the 80s, just full retro, dude. That is the way to do it
Yeah.
if you're gonna do the vinyl, man. That's really, really cool.
Yeah. But Justin, man, this was awesome. I feel like the Planet CHH viewers got a sense of who you are now. And
I hope they enjoyed it. I know I didn't show anything like insanely rare and like nothing too crazy, but it's just the stuff I'm into. And we got to dive deep and you know, talk about some serious shit too, which I always enjoy.
yeah. Can we talk about, so really quick, the last thing I want to mention, what made you want to have multiple channels?
Mm.
Like, is that not a lot for you to keep up with? Do you like to separate things to keep you busy? Where did that stem from?
Well, because a lot of the collector stuff, like viewers on YouTube seem to be really like kind of they like one thing a lot. Like they'll find you with one thing, so they want to watch your channel for just that.
For that.
So it's like I started off just doing like physical media stuff. Um, and the early days of my channel was pretty much it's just all physical media, doing
Physical media.
hauls, doing reviews and things like that. And I will always do that. And I love that. But I wanted to kind of talk about newer movies that were coming out like that week. And it's like it seemed like there was a disconnect from the people that wanted to watch like Vinegar Syndrome videos and the people that wanted to watch a review for The Whale. They just started to seem to be like two different audiences.
Right.
So I just really wanted to split it up. And even with the Dead Couch, which is my other channel, my physical media channel, I still want to do reviews on that channel, but I want to review just those old movies. I want to
Keep it old
review
school.
those. I just haven't had time to do it. It's just such a bitch to find time to do everything. So with the Dead Couch, I want to do my physical media, collecting, and then all the retro movies. You know what I mean?
Right.
I had a concept when I started that channel that it was going to be like, I'm not going to talk about any movie that came out after the year 1999.
Right.
It's going to be strictly, and for reviews, I think I'm going to keep it like that too. So, because I think if I posted a review for, some people would find it and watch it, but if I posted a review for like, I don't know, random weird Vinegar Syndrome deep cut movie, the main channel audience may not respond to it as much as somebody who's into collecting like NECA figures and shit like that. You know what I mean? I just find that they're two different audiences, and I'm trying to cultivate two different audiences. Of
And keep,
course, with some
yeah.
crossover, but
And you want to keep the channels healthy for the algorithm, because
right,
that's just
it's
the
tough
name of
out,
it.
man.
It's the name of the game. Yeah, I think a lot of us, we see what does well. I always, if anybody ever asks me for when they want to start a channel, what should we do? I always say, try stuff, whatever your audience responds to, give them more of it. You got, it's just the way it look. You got to you got to keep an audience happy. Because, otherwise, who's going to be watching? It's tough. But that makes sense to me what you're doing. I think at first, I remember when you told me that, I was like, that seems like it'd be a lot to deal with. But honestly, it's just like, look, if I have an audience for this and an audience for that, I don't want to lose an audience on one channel because they're like, oh, well, I guess they're not going to be doing this anymore. That's what I like to watch. So
Right.
let me have Taco Bell over here for the people that like tacos. I'll have my Domino's over the people like pizza.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the Dead Couch is purely genre, and I wanted Movie Watch to be a little bit more kind of mainstream, I
Mainstream.
guess. Yeah, a little bit. See what you've done. I guess when you talk about, maybe that's kind of why it's hard to pin down, because the shit is all over the place. You did a really good job with your rebrand thing, and you can tell your whole channel, even though you talk about music and not just horror and stuff, it all does fit a similar wheelhouse of a very like vintage 80s 90s vibe to the channel. So you've solidified that audience really, really well. I think that was a fantastic move. So I guess in essence, like, it's important to kind of niche down, like you said, and be very specific with what your content is. If you try to do everything and just throw everything in the kitchen sink,
It's
there's
tough.
going to be some disconnect there.
It's
There
tough.
just is.
Yeah.
So
But Justin, dude, I'm really glad you gave me the time tonight. I enjoyed this, getting to see your collection. Obviously, there's still a ton of stuff you have, but it would take forever. But I think we got a good idea of who Justin is, and I
Oh,
think
well,
the
good.
audience.
Dude, thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it. It's always a good time being on the channel. I hope the viewers had a good time going through the years and talking nostalgia and looking at silly shit. That's what I love, man.
So, Justin, can we try answering this question again before we go and see if we can get a little bit closer to an answer if we're the same? When you think of yourself now, or when I think of Justin, what can I pin to you? Do you think there's something now that we've done this, do you think that there may be something that we can try to pin to you or no? Is there something by looking at all this stuff that we can say this is what Justin is? To me, it's a VHS thing. That now that's kind of what comes to my mind now when I think of you is VHS.
I love the retro stuff. I really do. I did show a lot of I show a lot of VHS tonight. I wouldn't pin my I wouldn't pin myself down as just a VHS guy either though.
No, no.
Um,
It's hard, man.
you know what I like? I like shit that's fucking, and this is gonna sound so stupid, but when it comes to my music and my movies, I just want real.
Real.
So if that means that it's an A24 movie that's like boring as shit and it just like shows a field with wind blowing through it and there's like four words spoken through the whole movie, like that's my shit.
That sounds
Because
great, by the way.
that's the director like following a vision. I love when people take their vision and follow it to the nth degree. That's why I don't watch like ridiculous like Fast and Furious, Marvel, Ant-Man. I'm not into that shit.
You're real.
Whether it's a
Authentic.
comedy movie like Funny Pages, like a really good, independent movie, or a horror movie or an action movie, it just has to be real. I don't want movies by Community. I don't want movies by committee. I like writer directors doing real shit and people following their passion. So whether that's by creating VHS tapes or making really weird fucking movies, I just love it. Even mainstream movie like Darren Aronofsky's The Whale, that's still a singular vision.
Singular
Um,
vision.
I don't know. I don't know who I am or what I'm doing, man. I just
Yeah, you know what? You say that you're saying you're not trying to sound silly, but that makes sense. What's more real than Terrifier 2? The fact that,
yes.
what's more real than that? Midsummer, Ari Aster. I get it. That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the last thing I want to mention, I remember when I started watching your channel a little bit, you weren't afraid in dangerous times where you got to be careful giving out your opinion. You weren't afraid to say, look, I'm sorry, I didn't really dig this new Candyman
I
movie.
was gonna ask you, are you talking about Candyman? Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
like it's not. I mean, you would, and then you would share comments and show people like, look what this person's saying to me, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, God, did you say you don't like black people or something in the video? And you just said you did. Guys, didn't work for me. I wasn't that into it. This is not as good as the original to me.
Yeah.
You're a racist kind of stuff, and it's
I
just
didn't
like,
even
well, dude,
mention
what
the
I
politics of the movie whatsoever at all. I
no.
talked about the cinematography, the acting, the writing.
And you did.
That, you
Yeah.
know.
And I remember watching your review and I was like, wow, this poor guy. Like, I don't think I want to review this movie.
Those comments were gnarly. I was posting all the shitty comments in my stories, like, look at this fucking idiot.
But,
But
honestly, I don't think you've always been super nice. You've always been a positive dude to me. So it's just, but,
same, man. Right
you
back at
know,
you. Incredibly humble, very warm always to me and anybody else you have on. Really down to earth dude. So I appreciate you having a weirdo like me on, man. I appreciate
dude,
it.
this is awesome. I'm sure we'll do it again. I've told you I got to plan it. I just, everything's so crazy busy. We got movies coming out with Scream and everything. Everybody's going to be at the theater. We've got to do the Breaking Bread show where I
We got
get
to do it.
all my friends together and we just eat. I've told this a bunch. We're going to get everybody together. We're going to eat dinner on stream and just eat and chill and have a conversation. Who knows where the conversation will go? But I want to do Breaking Bread Burger King edition, Taco Bell edition. I think it'll be really fun. I
Fuck
think
yeah,
it'll be great.
dude.
So anyway, check him out. Movie Watch Daily, The Dead Couch, the Red.
Oh, where'd he go? The Rad Pack is what he was saying. You can catch me on the Rad Pack. Just started our own channel, so you can check out the Rad Pack channel. That's where you can find me, Mel, Garrett from Born to Be Rad, Mel from My Killer Podcast, our podcast, the Rad Pack. You can find me.
We were doing so good. I'm sorry.
Oh, it was good. I was just rolling, giving the channels, Movie Watch Daily, Dead Couch, Rad Pack, all that jazz.
That's my internet signal to say, all right, Christian, wrap it up. But yes, Movie Watch Daily, Dead Couch, Rad Pack podcast. It's its own channel now, so you can go there to watch the podcast. Social media, Movie Watch Daily, right? On Instagram.
Yep, movie_watch_daily on Instagram. I post all kinds of collection pics and random stuff, pictures of my dog, that shit.
You're not on Facebook, or I mean, you have a Twitter, but I don't think you use it.
I don't use Twitter. I don't really get on Facebook either. Cesspool.
Well, there you go, guys. Thank you for watching tonight. This was great. Justin, thank you again. If you're watching this on the replay, hopefully you enjoyed it. And I'm sure we'll bring good old Justin back on the show down the road. So everybody, thank you for spending your Saturday night with us. God bless, and we'll see you all next time.